live for an extra special edition of On the Spot. This week we come at you a full 24 hours ahead of time, and we're doubling the show for a white-hot 2-hour extravaganza. We're broadcasting live from Electronic Arts World Headquarters in Redwood City, California. But we're not here to yammer on about corporate strategies or whatever the heck else they do down here. We're here because they got games to show. What games, you ask? A fantastic question, my friend. How about Burnout Paradise, Skate, Army of Two, Left 4 Dead, Half-Life 2 Orange Box, Crysis, The Simpsons, FIFA, Rock Band, Need for Speed Pro Street, and whatever else we can dig up around here.
You never stop talking, just shut up.
On the Spot begins now!
Hey, we're here. This is it, Ryan. We're here at Electronic Arts.
It's Thursday, hooray!
Yeah, On the Spot's on. No, it's Wednesday, dude.
So I feel like I'm totally jet lagged.
I know, it's completely crazy. Like we had Monday off and now it's Wednesday. I don't even know.
We're doing the show, but it's a Wednesday, but we're also
But then we
in
took everything
Redwood.
from the show and we packed it up into trucks.
Yes.
And set it up in this conference room here at Electronic Arts because they're having a big event out there. They landed a helicopter out there.
I saw that.
They're showing all
Orange
kinds
smoke.
of games. Yes, they popped smoke. It doesn't get realer than that.
It doesn't. There's a whole ton of They got a huge auditorium over there with a bunch of games to show off.
Yes, and of course-
then we've stolen a bunch of them.
We've stolen a bunch of them. We have them right here. I'm looking at Burnout Paradise.
I know. Isn't that great? It's right there. It's taunting you. You can't play that right now.
All right, well, I'll get my chance at some point. But we are going to run down a bunch of great games, as we said at the top of the show. Games like Skate. We're going to show some stuff from Rock Band. And we are not going to have Crysis on the show. Want to get that out of the way right at the top of the show. I know we said Crysis. Unfortunately, it didn't work out.
Sorry, folks.
These things happen. It's the internet. But right now, why don't we kick it over? Homer Ibarra has been running around.
Like a lunatic.
Yeah, EA doesn't have an office. They have a campus.
That's right.
It's a campus.
It's like school.
It's like school.
There's a cafeteria.
Exactly. So Homer's been cutting all his classes and running around and shooting all kinds of stuff to give us a little more information about what this whole event is really about. Homer, why don't you take it away?
Homer back once again. This time I am in the darkness inside of the gymnasium here at EA. You can see that they have dressed it all nice and pretty so that people can kind of game and relax in the nice air-conditioned room. It's a scorcher out there. As we can see right here, one of the most hotly anticipated titles coming out of EA is Army of Two, and it looks real nice. Looked good down at E3. Looks even better now. Got my man Alex right here, though. What up, man? I'm just dropping it on you. What do you think so far, man?
I walked in here about 4 minutes ago, so it's very dark in here.
What are those 4 minutes telling you so far?
That it's very dark and air conditioned in here.
It's nice, though, huh?
Very nice. I mean, usually it's always like a gymnasium kind of thing, so it always it's like you're in your high school multi-purpose room or whatever. But this year they've done it up real nice.
A little more pimp, huh?
A little more pimp.
They got some red blocks, too.
There's like red velvet over everything. There's like red lighting. Like I don't even know what the hell I'm doing here.
All right, well, enjoy yourself, man. We'll catch up with you later. All right, so as we keep going, Army of Two some more. And, of course, that's the shooter that is the co-op action. I'm actually stuck looking at this game. But anyways, moving on. Hellgate London, right over here. Got our man Andrew Park taking a look at some rail simulator. Some train action going on right here. And if we keep going over here, we got Medal of Honor Heroes 2 for the Wii. Man, Bradley Shoemaker checking it out, getting his hands on the sticks. So here's some Medal of Honor Airborne over here. And if we keep doing the walkthrough, EA's got a bunch of mobile situations here. Some Burnout Paradise, Medal of Honor Airborne, some Boogie, Sims 2 Castaway, My Sims Bowling, Orcs and Elves 2, and Orcs and Elves over here for the DS. And if we continue the tour, it looks like we got the game that all the helicopter hype was all about, Battlefield Bad Company. And I got some gold right here. That's probably what they were bringing in, the gold. I don't care about the game. Just give me the gold. Where to go at? Where to go? I want the goal. All right, if we look over here, we got their the next installment in their NBA Live 08 franchise, playing it on that triple. Got Tyrone breaking the three right there. So if we keep moving on here, we got EA Sports Family Play for the Wii. Looks like, hey, how you doing? Homer with GameSpot, man. How's it going?
I'm Tim. How you doing?
Tim, let's. What do you got for us here?
A little FIFA on the Wii.
FIFA on the Wii, but it's part of the Family Play, yeah?
Family Play is part of FIFA and also part of NBA and part of Madden.
Gotcha. So give us a 30-second rundown real quick.
For Family Play,
You sure?
yes. So for Family Play, as the name implies, it allows actually families to play together on a competitive, sort of like level playing field. The way it works is really easy. Any point during gameplay in all three products, all you have to do, you remove your nunchuck, and then you only play with the Wii remote. So the AI runs the players around for you in all three products, and you only have to worry about the main actions like passing or shooting.
There you go. I'm sure we're going to get more in-depth coverage. We're just doing a simple walkthrough. We'll get our editors on it right away to come check it out even further. Enjoy the rest of your day. Need for Speed Pro Street is right over here. And again, we'll be bringing you more in-depth coverage. Looks like our man Jeff Gerstmann is right over there talking to the man from EA. And we'll let them get to the business. Skate, the hotly anticipated skateboarding franchise coming to next-gen machines. Looks like they have the Xbox 360 version out there, and that's the only one they've got. So EA Playground for the Wii right over here. And a place where I'm probably going to come and visit very soon, which is the massage chairs. Actually, you know what? I'm going to close the segment on that. I'm going to go ahead and sit down and get maybe a little quick 5 minutes. Does that sound good? All right. So everybody, the whole audience, stay tuned as GameSpot continues their coverage of EA Studio Showcase 2007, and I'm just going to relax. So I'll see y'all later.
All right, thanks for that look at the event, Homer. And now we're going to get into it with some honest-to-God game demos. I'm now joined by Alex Ward from Criterion. How you doing, sir?
All right, Jeff.
Good to see you again.
Thank you. Good to see you.
So now you've been working on Burnout Paradise for quite some time now.
Yeah, the past 20 years.
Yeah. And last time we spoke, you talked a lot about some of the new online features back at E3.
Yeah.
You know, let's go over that a little bit. You know, what is your main goal for the online in Burnout Paradise?
I think the main goal for the online is to get more people playing online with Burnout than we've ever done before.
Mm-hmm.
I think one of the reasons we're trying to do that is to make the online very fun, very open, and very social. So it's not so much as in-your-face competitive anymore.
Right.
Although all the traditional stuff you could have done in Burnout is there before. So this time, we're really giving the user the chance to do whatever they want. So it's an open world, so you can create your own route. Mm-hmm. You can set the start points at the end points, at the checkpoints. You can choose whether you want to have traffic on or off in the race. You can choose whether you want to check traffic. You can pick the boost rules. So you might want to have the Burnout 1 boost system where you're going to earn it up and then you can only use it when it's full, or the Burnout 2 system where it's quicker and it's more based on chaining, or Burnout 3 where takedowns are going to give you segments of boost, or Revenge where you can use boost at any time. So we've got a lot of customization options there, and we just want to broaden it out and make it just a very fun online experience.
Yeah. So now I think it's important to state that all the modes from the previous Burnout games are going to appear. Not just because it's an open world, you're not saying like, all right, now just go do whatever. Like there's still going to be that structure there if people do want it, right?
No. No, I mean, what we've said is that we said this at E3, each Burnout game is a representation of who we are at the time. So just because we did something before doesn't mean we're going to bring it back again.
Right.
So, Road Rage is back.
Yeah.
That's definitely one we're bringing back because we can make that much cooler in an open world. It's kind of never ending. Road Rage is always constrained on a fixed course. Race is very different now because it's all point to points. There's no laps, there's no circuits, no chevrons, no arrows. We've got a great new mode in there called Monkman, which is kind of a bit like Road Rage, but basically we set you a finish point you have to get to, and you kind of just have to survive. And in this world, the AI comes to get you. You're the Monkman in the city, so everyone's going to come and kick your head in. And it kind of builds up over time, and we've been playing that. That's probably one of the highlights for us when we've been testing the game at the moment. So yeah, Monkman's back. Crash mode is just been reinvented completely. We call it Showtime. And regardless of what you read in various game magazines, Crash Mode is in the game. It's just that we changed the name. And
Yeah.
some people find that very difficult to understand. We just changed the name. It's called Showtime because it's about showing something amazing that you can do. It's about performing a great crash. So Showtime's new, but again, I think the free burning part of the online experience, I think with this Burnout, it's more going to be about what you choose to do and what you create rather than what we necessarily make you do.
Cool. Well, when we get into it here, and you can show us some of the car select stuff, how are the cars broken out this time before you've had different classes and weights of cars?
Sure.
What differentiates them?
So the
this time?
big thing now is that how we're using physics this time. It's an all-new physics system. We can do a much more comprehensive driving model than we've ever done before. Obviously, using Cell, using one of the SPUs for physics, gives us great driving, great deformation. So there's a real difference in each car now. So we've got front-wheel drive, rear-wheel drive, all-wheel drive. Previous Burnouts, the kind of differences between how the cars ran was basically between, you know, what the top speed was, what the boost speed was, kind of the grip, how well they drifted or not. This time, the cars are very different. Players will really choose their favorite car or not. You can skin them up in a different way. How they'll drive, so again, what I've got on screen here is a sports car, beautiful, Italian. We have manufacturers in the game now, and all the cars are named. Certainly something we never did before because we're really rubbish at coming up with names. So all the cars are named.
So they're all invented manufacturers.
absolutely
Okay, I was going to say,
right.
wait, you got licensed cars and you're blowing them apart like this? It's insane.
No,
yeah, I was gonna say.
certainly not yet. These cars are brand new creations done by a car team led by Nakamura-san in the Criterion office. He's done a fantastic job. This is obviously an Italian-style sports car. I hold down R2 and I pull the ignition. This car you'd expect has a high top speed and again, has a lot of torque, so you really can slide it around a lot. This car handles very differently. It's quite nimble. I can just check there. It's very nimble, and I can kind of lose it and get it wrong. And the boost color here is orange. So again, this is a speed car. There's something new and exclusive that we can announce today is that the cars are based into 3 different types of how they earn boost. Whether they're aggressive cars, which means that they earn the most boost for doing aggressive maneuvers like takedowns, checking, slams and shunts, or speed-based car, this is going to earn most boost for kind of driving at speed for long amounts of time, driving on the wrong side of the road, weaving in and out of traffic, earning boost for near misses.
Okay. So how many different cars do you have in the game?
Don't ask me that. I'm rubbish on the numbers. Over 30. I won't say what I think the actual number is because my team are probably watching right now and laughing. They'll probably get the numbers wrong. But yeah, there's over 30 different cars. They're all unique. They're all handled differently. And they just drive very differently. So again, if I want to boost now, I've just got boost. So this is a kind of, this car's got kind of almost like a Burnout 2 kind of boost rules on it, where I can't use boost at any time now. If I want to hit the button, I can't.
All right, okay.
Also, we have a new mode here, which I'm not going to show you, but I'll tell you about it. It's a new mode here called Stunt Run. And in this mode, I won't show you because some of the UI elements aren't complete yet. And again, if I want to take part in an event in Burnout Paradise, all I do is pull up the lights and stop, hit L2 and R2, and I can start the event. No loading, totally seamless online play. In Stunt Run, this is about, I hate to use the word tricking, but it's about performing cool maneuvers, jumps and stunts for a multiplier, and I can go as long as I can across the city. We give you a time in which to do it. It's a time-based event. So Stunt Run is new in Paradise.
And will that tie into like kind of the combo system of chaining together, you know, long oncoming streaks?
Here you go. I guess this is a paint shop, so I'll just respray the car there in real time. Obviously, this
And your wanted level
car
is reset.
It's screwed. There's no wanted levels in this game. There's no wanted levels, just UFOs and Martians.
Of course.
They'll be appearing. Obviously, as true Burnout fans know, Martians and UFOs are back. And the Martians are playable this time. Ouch. So again, if I wreck the car, as you know, if the wheels are off, the car gets reset. That's totally wrecked. But if the wheels are still on, then of course you can drive away.
Now, let's talk about the car crashes for a little bit here. Obviously, this has
Burnout
been
car crashes. I don't know what you mean, Jeff.
Now,
That's
I
an
understand that
insignificant
you
part of the
put
game,
work
surely.
into these wrecking cars this time around?
Yeah, we thought car crashes would be new. It's all new in Burnout, all new car crashes. The idea that you can drive fast and crash the car.
And there's a damage model this time.
There's a damage
too, right?
model for the first
Wow.
time ever in Burnout. You can actually crash the car. The lawyers have finally let us wreck. Ouch. Again, wheels are off, car's wrecked, I get
That's a
reset.
reset.
Wheels are on. So yeah, the deformation model, what we're able to do here in real time, we're able to really bend, twist, warp the car, throw more, the cars are more detailed, they have modeled interiors, there's more parts on the car, how they come off is different. So it really is This is Burnout from the ground up for us on PlayStation 3.
Awesome.
Open world, first open world at 60 frames. Very efficient streaming system. If I see the Paradise City sign there in the distance, wheels are still on. Wheels are still on, and you can drive away. Nice. Wheels still on, drive away. See the Paradise City sign in the distance, I can drive there. No loading, no menus, no driving to dots on a map. Want to do something, just pull up at the lights. Pull up at these lights. That isn't a junction. What's this one? Just roll up slowly. That's a car challenge. One of the cars there is called the Spur. If you get that car and come to that junction, if I hit the triggers, I'll do an event.
Oh, so you'll need specific cars for some
Specific
events,
car
too.
challenge for some events there. This is a, I don't know how you call this in America. We call this a multi-story car park.
That'll
And
work.
They're very small. And we built some of these in the game, and as you can see, the whole city is built for Burnout, built for stunts and jumps and ramps.
And I don't
So
know
again,
if this is like this overseas, but here in America, most multi-story car parks do have big ramps on top.
That's.
So
I
you
thought
can
that was
fly
just
up
in
anytime.
San Francisco,
Now that's pretty much everywhere.
and
yeah.
you can jump off them. What is it? I think it's Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Saturdays.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, but
they've
not-
got hours and
Yeah,
stuff like that.
but then barrel rolls just only on the weekend, right?
Yes, the barrel rolls. You know, that's an expert move. You don't want to do that during the week. There's commuters out there.
There are commuters out there.
So
yeah.
why don't we take some questions from the audience and see what they have to ask about Burnout?
Okay, no problem. I do hope Mum is up because she was going to ask one.
Okay, Ryan, why don't you hit us with some questions? Car customization. Well, we saw the paint changing. Is there?
So he's from Cardiff. Well, that's interesting because many of our designers come from Cardiff, so there's a big Welsh contingent who make Burnout. Car customization. Well, you know what? It's Burnout, right? Our view on car customization is that we let you customize the car by smashing it into a wall and remodeling it that way.
Yeah.
If our friend from Wales there, if he's looking for a game where you can spray up the car and you can put different liveries on it, if he's looking for a game where you can kind of add the engine and add the NOS, well, he isn't going to find that in Burnout, I'm afraid. We're too busy smashing them up rather than tuning them up.
Totally. Don't have time for them to look pretty. They're too busy getting scuffed.
Yeah,
Ryan,
you
hit
bet.
me with another question.
Let's see here. I'm going to give this one to John in Dublin. He wants to know, he says that Burnout Revenge had a great sense of competition because of the revenge mechanic. Does Paradise have a similar vibe?
Sorry, can you repeat that again?
Burnout Revenge had the revenge mechanic, which really
sure.
helped to make it competitive.
Oh, no, yeah.
Is something like that in
That'll
Burnout
be
Paradise.
in Paradise as well, yeah. But like I said, in this new game, we hope that the players who enjoyed Revenge are also going to enjoy the free burn system and looking at the free burn challenges in the game, which is we think is just a lot more fun. All the kind of hardcore mano-a-mano competitive stuff, that's all in there as well with some of the Revenge callouts.
Cool. And of course, you do have the camera support.
Sure, definitely. On
which seems
PlayStation
like
Eye,
it'll
the
make
new
it pretty
iToy,
personal.
and Xbox Live Vision, yeah, we're using the camera. We think every online game should use the camera. We should just start a petition or something. Every online game, God, it's got to use the camera.
We all have these cameras.
You all have the camera, so, and you haven't played Uno in ages, right, Jeff?
Yeah, well, I played a couple weeks ago.
Yeah, Uno, it's hot. It's a hot game. We like Uno. So every game should use the camera, and that's what Burnout does. So we're using the camera all the time. Every time you win in the game, if the camera's plugged in, you add that photo to your license. So we're taking photos all the time, and it's just a lot of fun.
Cool. Now, of course, you mentioned Uno, big Xbox 360 game. This game's also coming on the 360.
Yeah.
Now, you've been developing primarily for the PlayStation 3.
Yeah.
What can you say about the 360 version? Is it
Well, I mean,
identical? Is it,
you
is
know,
it
as
very
Jeff,
similar?
we make games for all the systems at Criterion. It's just that we've got a particular knowledge and, suppose, reputation there of sort of pushing the Sony hardware. The game's shipping at the same time on Xbox 360. The game is the same. The feature set is pretty much largely the same on Xbox 360. Still 60 frames a second. Still cranking the Xbox hardware as far as we can. Uses live vision. All the online stuff's in there. So yeah, the game's coming in 360 as well.
Cool, awesome. And when are you looking to ship it to stores?
As soon as we've finished it, Jeff, which is the question. So
Which is like, that's like
we'll
next
be
week, right?
Putting
It's
it on
like
a
almost
truck.
done. Look at this game. It's like almost done. It's like finished, right?
Look at this! Look at this show. It's the slickest show I've ever seen.
Yeah.
It's not done yet. We're in the final stages of development. As soon as it's done, as soon as we've tested it, it'll be out. So it'll be out the winter.
The winter. Okay.
In the winter.
Alex Ward, thanks for coming by.
All right, Jeff. Cheers.
See you again.
See ya.
Now we're going to go over to Ryan Davis, who's going to be showing us Half-Life 2 Orange Box. Take it away.
That's correct. I'm joined now by Doug Lombardi. Doug, how's it going?
Hey, very well.
From Valve, you've got Orange Box, which
Yep.
is your total Valve everything software package bundle. It's just the total everything
5 great games, 1 orange box.
Excellent. And you're showing off Team Fortress 2 here today.
Yep, we got Team Fortress 2 playable on the 360 here
And this is the first time people are seeing this.
First time in the States. We showed it at Leipzig 2 weeks ago over in Germany in the EA booth there. And this is the first time in the States that we've shown it in public.
Just, let's jump into it.
Definitely.
This is a long-awaited game.
Too long, I'm afraid. We actually won a few awards at E3 1999 with a very different TF2.
Wow, that was my first E3. So, so how has the game changed in the 45 years since you first started developing?
Exactly. I mean, it's changed a ton. I mean, the art style is the first thing that people will notice right away. When we first brought the game out, it had sort of a World War II style art pass to it, and it was much more about sort of, playing army, if you will. Over the years, we've sort of, moved away from that as that World War II sort of genre has gotten really, really crowded.
Sure.
And we've come out with something that we feel is both sort of something that gives people really good readability of the characters, lends itself nicely to the humor that evolves in any multiplayer server, but still also has characters that you want to play and want to go into combat with.
So there wasn't like a very specific reason why you wanted to go for this cartoony art style. It just seemed like it kind of organically grew out of...
It really was the first time we ever had the gameplay mechanic pretty well locked before we did the art. Because the game went through so many iterations,
Sure.
Each one had some good gameplay pieces that got moved forward. And we were zeroing in on the final game design. And we had moved through 3 or 4 different art passes along the way. And when we said, okay, here's the game mechanic, how can we sort of do this the inside-out way? Usually you see concept art and screenshots before you play the game.
Right.
In this case, it was the opposite. So we were able to say, how can we custom tailor the art to this game mechanic that we have a lot of strong belief in?
So how many revisions into Team Fortress 2 are we looking at here for this art?
At
what point did you find this?
This is a third definite sort of hard, iteration, if you will. The first one was sort of the World War II style one. The second one was something that we internally codenamed TF2 Invasion, which was much more of a sci-fi. It was super, super dark, and it really got very much far away from sort of the roots of Team Fortress, if you will. This one we feel brings it back almost closer to the original Quake mod of Team Fortress that Robin and John did when they were still students in Australia, which again sort of lends itself to that over-the-top, sort of hyper, sensationalistic style of gameplay.
Are those cats still working? Are they still on the project?
Absolutely. Robin is one of the lead designers on the project, and John is working on the project, and John also does a lot of work on Steam as well.
Now, one of the first things that I've seen that really kind of struck me about Team Fortress 2 was you did a lot of demos of the facial modeling and just the movement there. What inspired you to take that kind of a focus on a multiplayer game where that kind of stuff usually kind of goes to the background? It's much more about speed and the mechanics.
Well, I mean, a lot of the gameplay stuff is focused on that, right, on the mechanics, and there's a lot of gameplay sort of evolution, if you will, in terms of the new gameplay styles that are in the game, adding things like sudden death, when the server gets stale, when the two sides are just sitting at midfield for too long, and a lot of mechanics like that to advance the sort of multiplayer action genre, if you will. But then on the other side, we were looking at stuff to say, okay, how can we pull this apart and say, how can we move away from, the rest of the field and give it something that, again, sort of gives players that heads up, information, if you will, as soon as stuff comes on screen, and also have an original look, and also have something that sort of lends itself to the fun of a multiplayer style game.
Well, let's talk about the actual gameplay here. I mean, Team Fortress, the original Team Fortress is a total staple. What have you done to kind of expand on that?
Well, I think that the 9 character classes are the key to Team Fortress. I mean, it is sort of the granddaddy of class-based multiplayer action games, if you will.
Absolutely.
And what we tried to do with Team Fortress 2 was to take that even further and say each one of these classes are sort of like a different game experience to themselves. So if you play as the medic for a few hours, you're going to have a dramatically different play experience than if you play as the soldier or the heavy weapons guy. Likewise with the spy or with the medic. And what we're trying to do is say each one of these classes is a different game mechanic and is truly the most varied in terms of class-based multiplayer shooters, where in other games it's really which gun do you have makes the difference. You know, in TF2, the engineer really isn't about his gun, it's about thinking strategically more like an RTS player.
Who are we looking at? What class are we looking at right here?
Okay, so here we've got the Demo Man, and he is primarily a defensive guy, but can also be very much a weapon. A good Demo Man is a great threat on offense as well. He has the ability to lay mines that he can trigger or mines that just time out. And everybody has a melee weapon as well. One of the things that we did when we went through and looked at the classes from the old versions was to say some of the classes people like a lot are really, really effective, and some of the classes people don't play very much at all. So what we wanted to try and do was to bring the balance up. So specifically on the Pyro and the Medic, folks who have been TF players for a long time are going to find that they're a lot more relevant in TF2 than they were in prior versions.
So a lot of rebalancing going on as far as the classes go.
Yeah, a lot of rebalancing, changing the weapons that they have. Each of the guys now have a primary, secondary, and a melee weapon, sort of, to sort of give a level playing field of different types of mechanics available to them. And for each one, each primary of one class, there's another class that has a counter to that. So for example, a complementary counter is the heavy weapons guy and the medic. Right, the heavy weapons guy is kind of slow, but he's got a lot of firepower and he can last a long time, especially if the medic is charging him with his health gun.
Okay.
At a certain point in time, if they're successful, the medic gets an invulnerability charge, and he can make both of them invulnerable for 10 seconds. They can push through, a choke point or to the final cap point, and all of a sudden the medic is the hero now.
Excellent. Now, in this type of game, everyone ends up having a favorite type of class. You play through it a little bit, you jump around some, but eventually you settle on a class. Do you have a personal favorite yourself?
I primarily, historically, have been a heavy weapons guy, but with the new designs and whatnot, I've been playing a lot of the medic and a lot of the demo man, which we were just looking at.
Cool. Well, I'm sure folks at home have a million questions about this game. Jeff Gerstmann, what do they want to know about Team Fortress 2?
Fortress Classic levels. Will there be updated versions of those maps, such as the version of 2 Fort that you've been showing, available at launch?
Yep, on launch we'll have 2 Fort, which is a very faithful recreation of the original Classic. Sort of 2 Fort was to the old TF what Dust is to Counter-Strike today. So that was the #1 map that we had to make sure that we brought forward. Folks will also see a version of Well that is semi-faithful to the original, but has been updated pretty dramatically. And Dust Bowl, which I think is one of my personal favorite multiplayer maps of all time, will be in the first release of Team Fortress 2 as well.
Do you have a grand total map number?
There'll be 6 in the original release. There's a couple new ones and a couple remade classics, and then we've got a couple already in production that will be released shortly after launch. Each of the 6 that are in the first release are a different gameplay mechanic. One of the new ones, Hydro, is actually sort of 3 maps in one, where they unlock progressively in random order. So you each have a base, and there's 4 points that you have to control. You fight over those 4 points. When somebody's taken those over, you go to the end base.
That sounds awesome.
it is awesome.
It sounds extremely hectic. Jeff, give me one more question.
Okay, here's one more. This one comes from John in Florida. He says, we saw some awesome facial animation and voice acting in the movies that Valve has released. Are we going to see some of that stuff in-game?
Yeah, I mean, when the heavy weapons guy is unloading, Sasha, at a high rate, he'll start making those facial animations and screaming. And there's also the player taunts, which I think we showed off at E3 when we came on and spoke with you all. Each of the player classes have 9 taunts that are sort of a cool animation to, let folks know that you just gave it to them. And then additionally, there's the preset calls for, medic or, stick together or what have you, and all of those have animations and vocal cues attached to them as well.
Well, it sounds awesome. It sounds like this should be its own game. I don't know what you guys are doing. Off the ball, lumping this all in together with Portal and the Half-Life 2 episode stuff. That's an awful lot.
Well, hopefully, it's an awesome package, and it's the gaming offer that people can't refuse.
We're very much looking forward to this. You're doing this on a ton of different platforms.
Yep, PC and 360, October 10th, and PS3 will follow just by a couple weeks.
Excellent, Doug. Thanks for coming by. Can't wait to play it.
Yeah, great to see you guys. Thanks.
Up next, we have you guys are also showing Left 4 Dead here.
You betcha, Left 4 Dead.
We went and checked it out. Let's take a look.
Hey, we are here at EA's Studio Showcase. Now, it hasn't quite started yet, so we took this opportunity to sneak in over here at the Left 4 Dead area and talk to Mike Booth, who is president of Mike, what is this game?
This game, imagine that you and I are the only lucky survivors in a viral holocaust that turns everyone else into ravening psychotic zombies, basically. We need to escape LA. So that's, in a nutshell, the game. It's all about cooperation. There's 4 survivors. They have got to trust each other. They've got to watch their backs, and they're trying to make it out alive.
So just LA had the viral holocaust?
No, it's larger than LA. more I can't say at the moment. We're keeping the backstory a little bit, sketchy.
All right. Now, Turtle Rock actually has quite a bit of experience at shooting things. The background of the company, what you guys have done, and how you came up with Viral Holocaust survival stuff.
Right. Well, we've been around now for over 5 years, working with Valve for almost all that time. We've been the co-developers of the Counter-Strike franchise with them. I actually started with them doing the Counter-Strike bot, which then we turned into Counter-Strike Condition Zero. We also have Counter-Strike Xbox and Counter-Strike Source with Valve. The studio is made up of a number of industry veterans. Everyone has shipped many games. They've worked at many places, Valve, EA, Blizzard, etc. And now Valve has been incredibly supportive and is helping us build our first original game, which is Left 4 Dead.
All right, well, let's actually go see this in action. So we're coming in here. The room's actually pretty empty because nobody's been let in yet, so yay. And we're going to stand here and watch somebody get jacked up.
Here is Chris has just been hit with a vomit from the Boomer. He's one of our special boss zombies. Boss zombies have specifically weird mutations. The Boomer is a big, obese guy full of methane gas who can vomit blood. If he hits you with that blood, then you're basically it for about 20 seconds, and every zombie in the area will only target you. So your teammates need to protect you during that time.
And just to be clear, even if it is a little bit too much work to protect you, they probably should, because an incomplete team is a dead team, right?
That's right, that's right. If this is not a game that you can run off on your own. It's designed to be very cooperative. Like in that particular case there, he was just hit by a hunter pounce. And once the hunter pounces him, he's done, unless his friends come and save him. So you have to stay together, you have to trust each other, and you have to watch your back.
And so we're in kind of a distressed urban environment that's seen better days. Can you tell us a little bit about where the levels are set? Obviously, you said LA. Are we going to recognize any locations?
No, nothing is that specific. We're trying to keep things fairly generic. But what you're seeing here is an urban environment. We also have other urban environments as well as rural environments, which are very different. They play very differently. Now, what you'll notice here is that it's fairly quiet at the moment. There's another Boomer for you. What we have the AI director that is an artificial intelligence that's watching over the whole scene, and it's going to vary the intensity to keep the experience exciting. Because if we just threw infected at you, horde after horde after horde, you'd quickly get burned out. And if it was always like this and too quiet, it would be very boring. So the director watches the intensity of each survivor's experience and then raises and lowers the intensity of the game over time. So sometimes you'll just get totally swarmed, there'll be lots of things going on. Sometimes it'll be eerily quiet like this. Now that was a combo of two boss zombies, right? The Smoker has a 50-foot long prehensile tongue, which you can throw out and grab a survivor and pull him way out of position, right? Which is what he just did. Now, while he was being pulled, a hunter was waiting around the corner to pounce on him. So the player-controlled infected, the boss infected, which right now are controlled by AI, can be very devious if they want to work together and set up these sort of traps for them.
So for infected, these folks are kind of spry and they move pretty fast. Is that a big concern?
You mean the infected hordes? Well, I found that having these mobs of just enraged people, I thought was incredibly scary, right? I mean, the traditional shambling zombies also are scary in a different way. But when you get just completely overwhelmed by 30 or 40, just ravening people, it's very disturbing.
To say the least. So this is coming out on the PC and the 360, correct?
That's correct, yes.
Are there going to be any differences between the two games? Will they be able to play with each other? Anything crazy like that?
Right now, that's still up in the air, exactly how that's going to work. What we're concentrating on right now is just making the game experience as polished and good and intense as we can possibly make it on both platforms.
As far as PC goes, it looks really good, but is it going to be much of a resource hog?
We are taking a lot of effort to make sure that the game is optimized and runs well on a variety of machines. And that's one of the strengths of the Source engine, is that it is very scalable, and it runs on many different levels of consumer hardware.
And so this is one particular stage. Can you give us a sense of how the game structure is going to be? Is it clear different stages, different areas?
What we have right now is basically survive and escape. So you see that red door right up there? That's the first sort of safe door. But once the survivor team makes it to that door, go ahead and go in, Chris. Once the team makes it to that door, then they've progressed. They've made it through the first part of this campaign. And each campaign is 5 maps long. And for an experienced survivor team, it'll take them about 45 minutes to an hour to make it if they know what they're doing and they survive. But you don't always survive in Left 4 Dead. It's survival.
There you go. That's a lot of infected viral stuff happening in LA, like always. And there's people trying to escape it. So that's really cool, man. Thanks very much. And when can we look for the game?
Right now we're just saying 2008.
Sweet, didn't they? So we'll be bugging them most of 2008 until we find out about when it's coming out. But until then, let's go look at all the other stuff they got here at EA Studio Showcase.
And that was Left 4 Dead, which they're showing here at EA. I am now joined by Chris Ferreira, lead designer on Army of Two. Chris, how's it going?
It's going great, man.
Are you enjoying your day so far, showing off your game?
Yeah, loving the lovely California weather, and everyone's enjoying the co-op experience we have to offer. So.
Did you get to catch the helicopter thing going on over
Yeah,
there?
I inhaled about like 2 tons of smoke from the flares when that thing came ripping in.
Excellent. Well, let's jump into your game. It's already happening and jumping off here. Tell us about Army of Two for those who don't already know.
So Army of Two is a pure co-op game. We're the only game that's designed from co-op from the ground up. So everything's been designed for 2 characters, be it you and a friend over Xbox Live, you and a friend on a couch, or you and a partner AI, which will emulate another player.
Okay.
So all the mechanics, all the game design, all the weapon customization, all the combat, everything's designed for these 2 players to interact from the ground up to go through.
Okay.
So other games will have a standard game and then say, hey, my buddy's going to jump in and play with me. But they don't ever say, you know, you really need to work together. You guys need to communicate. In our game, you know, if one guy tries to run and gun the whole time, he's really going to get cut up and he needs his buddy to come back and rescue him using the different co-op mechanics we have.
Excellent. So what are we seeing here now?
So what's happening here is this is in Beijing, and it's a series of locks. So what the pair needs to do is one player kind of needs to draw the attention of the AI using the aggro system. The other guy needs to go and complete objectives, has to go and hit buttons, open doors, and move through. Has to move through the whole map. So what you're doing is you're opening a lock, you're moving a hovercraft into it, raising the water level, opening the other door and getting out. But the whole time, the Chinese military is trying to stop you.
How lengthy are these missions? Like how long does something like this go on for?
Each mission is well over an hour. They're very long. There's a lot to do, but we have a series of checkpoints where you can actually jump in and jump out dynamically. So every time you hit a checkpoint, your buddy can jump in or drop out. So you never lose your game, right? If I'm playing with you, we hit a checkpoint, you're like, hey, I gotta go, mom's making dinner or whatever. You bail, my game continues with the AI. Someone can then plug in on the couch at the next checkpoint, jump in and continue playing.
All right, let's talk a little bit more about this kind of this hopping in and out as far as progress in the game goes. If I'm playing online with someone and you know, I want to play more with them later, is there ability to like save your progress at a point with them?
Well, what you would do is at that point, if you guys were both done with the game, you'd stop at that one checkpoint and both bail on the game, and then you can the host can restart from that checkpoint and invite your buddy back to join. But if you continue, you're going to overwrite that checkpoint and move ahead of your friend, and you guys will have to restart the mission together. But the thing is using the game system we've created, especially with the aggro system, you're never going to play the same game twice, because based on who you're playing with, their playstyle, and their inventory is going to change the way the game plays.
Let's talk a little bit about this map overlay system that we just saw a little bit of. What's that about? Like, how does that work?
The idea is that it's GPS. So what it is, it's kind of a foolproof plan. We don't want players standing around wondering, where am I supposed to go next? What am I supposed to do? So anytime you want, you can hit the back button or select, and it'll bring this map up. And it shows you a direct line to your next objective. So you know where you need to go, and it's up to you to choose how you want to get there. Whether you want to blow everything up, whether you want to play the aggro system back and forth and try and use flanking tactics to get to it and all that. You don't just sit around and wonder, man, let me run down this alley, let me run down that alley. Where am I supposed to go? For a player like me who actually gets lost really easily, I just hit that button, I know where I'm supposed to go and what I'm supposed to do.
I have to say one of the most striking things about this game to me, aside from just the fidelity on the visuals, is the style of the 2 characters. What inspired this kind of over-the-top with the flames and just this weird characterization? Not really what you expect from like a military co-op game.
Well, that's the thing, is we're privatized military companies in this game. So you actually start off the game as Army Rangers. and then you join this military company called SSC, and they send you out on missions. Now, at that point, you gear up how you want to gear up. You bring your own guns in, you bring your own gear in. So our guys actually have a custom tailored uniform to each. Salem, who's the main character you see here running around with the flames on, he has all tattoos and his mask is all custom built to his persona, where the other guy, Rios, is kind of the bigger, older guy, and his is more, he actually got scarred up in his face, which is revealed in the story, so his mask is actually all scarred up to also show that off. But these are, what happens in the real world, these guys kind of bring their gear in. So when they go into combat, these guys have beards, sunglasses, baseball caps, jerseys, and they do what they want to do. They don't operate as a standard military.
Right.
So we kind of bring that to the game space, and you can also customize that stuff later on. As you go through, you can buy new masks and upgrade your armor.
Excellent. Tell us a little bit more about the actual storyline of what unfolds during Army of Two.
So it's a pretty politically charged story. We talk about the way a privatized military works and what it does, and that exists today. Companies like Blackwater and DynCorp hire these ex-special forces guys, send them overseas to do missions, and then they pay them directly. But there's deniability, and there's also legislation that says they're immune from prosecution. So as our story advances, our guys become these PMCs and experience this stuff, but they also kind of get screwed over by it. The deniability comes back to bite them, and they sort of learn what the problems are, and we convey this to the public. But with the banter between the two going back and forth, it sort of works like a lethal weapon, right? There's some grim underlying story of this is really bad, this is, what's going on, wherever corruption, and the two guys banter back and forth, and it adds comedy over the top.
I just noticed that they had a conversation about who their favorite Wu-Tang Clan member was. So you kind of just injecting this, they're very casual about what they're doing. It's like we're doing this horrible, very ethically kind of shaky mission, but doesn't really care.
You know what? And it also shows their development as they go through the story, because initially they're in it for the money. That's all they're there for, is they want to get paid.
Right.
And so they're having fun with it. They're like, let's do our mission, let's mess around. Each of the characters also comes across like Salem, the one who was talking about the Wu-Tang, is kind of younger, more lighthearted, has a kind of a mixed background as far as being in trouble with the law and whatnot.
Okay.
Whereas the other guy is older, he's been around the block, he kind of knows what's going on, and he's definitely more mature. So what happens here is, we actually had a guy come in and we asked, how do you take care of your wounds on the battlefield? They said we use tampons, because it's the best thing to stop bleeding, just stuff it right in the bullet hole. So what we have here is when one player dies, both players have a time limit. Like, one guy has to get to the other guy, and then they play a mini game where he's going to put these tampons in the bullet wound and bring them back. So both players, again, even in death, it's cooperative. Both players have to work together to get that stuff.
So rated M for mature then?
Oh, of course.
Okay. Let's talk about weapon loadout some.
So we actually have 30 plus customizable weapons, and we're one of the few, if not the only, current first-person shooter that has a persistent inventory. You earn money on the fly. You can buy all these guns, and each gun has between 10 to 15 upgrades. So you can upgrade barrels, you can upgrade stocks, you can upgrade cartridges, you can throw front mounts like a shotgun, grenade launchers on it. You carry 3 weapons into a map, a primary, secondary, and a special, which is, your primaries are your big aggro builders, they're your big guns, your machine guns, shotguns. Secondaries are pistols and submachine guns, are more accurate, build less aggro, and then your specials are your scoped weapons, your sniper rifles, and your RPGs. Now, as you go and complete objectives, in the middle of a mission you can shop at certain points. You can also shop between missions, and what's really cool is that, say we got further in a mission and you bought a real, super tricked out gun, you can actually exchange it with me temporarily, so I can try your gun out, especially if I'm a new player.
And we saw the feigned death little action there.
So that ties back into aggro, and what aggro is, it's something that we adopted from the MMO space. It's the ability to play the AI and play the attention of the AI back and forth. So here, as he's firing, you see that he's really building the attention, and the meter swings in his direction, and he'll turn red, whereas the other player right here is ghosting out.
Sure.
So what that allows you to do is all the AI is going to focus on the guy who's glowing red. The guy who's ghosting can then actually, unless he gets really close, like in their periphery, that's when they'll react to him. So you can go flank around guys, you can complete objectives. If you hold it long enough, you can enter an overkill. One player goes overkill stealth, one player goes in the overkill power mode. The overkill stealth player can actually sneak up behind guys and take them out because he's essentially invisible. It's an earn and burn mechanic. But everything in the game plays back into this aggro, so your weapons, how big your gun is, what am I equipped with, what are you equipped with, what's your playstyle, all that ties back into the aggro. So every time you play a mission, depending on what you use and how you play, it's going to change how the AI reacts and what goes on in the map.
What's your preference as far as playstyle?
I like to take the shotgun for up close building aggro, and then for a secondary, I'll take a submachine gun. So I kind of have the rapid fire on my secondary, which doesn't build as much aggro, but it's really accurate. And then when a guy rushes me, I'll go to my shotgun and take him out. I also like seeing the guy fly back 30 yards.
Well, I can understand why. That sounds very satisfying. Are you ready to take some questions from the folks at home?
Yeah.
Jeff Gershman, what do they want to know? Army of Two.
We are getting some Army of Two questions here. Christopher York asks, how's damage handled in the game? What do you have to do to save your partner and heal him and things like that?
So as you take damage, you take bullets and whatnot. You have a regenerating health system. So all you gotta do is get in cover for a little bit, and you'll come back. But the problem is with that aggro, right? If you have high aggro and low health, you're probably gonna die because everyone's focusing on you.
Right.
So you're gonna want to tell your partner, hey, pull out your biggest gun, build the aggro, so everyone will pay less attention to me. I can stay in cover. I won't get hit for 4 or 5 seconds. I'll regenerate. But if I lose all my health, as we saw before with the tampon healing, I'm gonna need my partner to come over. We play that mini game and bring him back. So in essence, both players are responsible for failure.
Okay, so there's a vested interest in everyone staying alive.
Yeah, I mean, it's our biggest challenge in this game is getting people to work together and cooperate and explain that you have to work together or you're going to get cut up and you're going to fail.
Tell me a little bit about the AI, and if you're going to be playing with a co-op game with an AI partner, how does that affect the experience, and kind of how do you interact with them?
So the partner has an intimate knowledge of the map. He's sort of like an emulation of another player. He knows the objectives. He knows where to go. He has his own goals and his own motives. But things he'll pay attention to is, say, the aggro and your health. So if your health is low and your aggro is high, he knows he needs you alive to complete the mission. He's going to start firing and draw that aggro back on him so you can regenerate. On another note, you can issue some commands and sort of alter him. You can say advance, hold position, or stay with me. And you can, in each of those modes, set him to either build aggro or minimize aggro. So if you have a heavy enemy, now those are enemies in our game, they're armored from the front, they're soft from the back.
Okay.
You'll tell the partner, hey, stay in cover, like hold position and build aggro. And what he's going to do, he's going to become a turret. He's going to stand there and just fire, and everyone's going to focus on him, allowing you to flank behind that enemy and then take him out from behind. And then once you move to your position, then you can tell him to advance and you can take the aggro. And you kind of shift that back and forth, but you can play that any number of ways. That's the cool part. It's really how you approach it.
So this is all going to be on the fly. It's not like I'm going to program a
no.
AI profile.
You can do it with the D-pad on the fly or voice commands if you have a headset. So you can pretty much yell at him and tell him off and tell him what you want to do, and he'll react to most of the stuff you say.
Awesome.
So what we have here too is like a step jump where one player can actually raise the other. In other games, it's not interactive where one guy will just play a canned animation. In our game, everything is interactive. So one guy actually controls the lift, where the other guy can then fire and say, hey, lower me. So you can raise him up, roll a grenade out, say, lower me, boom, blow the guys off the top, lower them back down, climb back up in the end. So it's really, every mechanic is 2 players controlling it and getting through the mission.
Excellent. Chris, sounds very cool.
Cool, man.
You're rolling this out to a number of platforms?
Xbox 360 and PlayStation 3.
Excellent. Do you have a release date?
November 13th.
Excellent. Chris, thanks for coming by and giving us a look at this.
Yeah, it's a pleasure, man.
Up next is Jeff Gerstmann and Skate. Jeff!
That's right. We are skating over here. I'm here with Chris Perry, assistant producer of Skate. How you doing, sir?
Yeah, I'm doing wicked.
Sweet. So the Skate demo hit Xbox Live Marketplace not too long ago here.
Yep.
And it is absolutely blowing up. They just, in the presentation earlier, you guys were saying 600,000 downloads.
Yeah, we're amazed.
That's
we're
kind of a lot, dude.
Yeah, it's kind of tripping us out. We're stoked. We figured people would. Is like all the skaters on the team, all the people on the team. We know we got something good. I guess other people have been waiting for something like this to happen.
So, for sure. I mean, if people have been playing this demo like crazy, why don't we show them what else is in this game? They've seen the demo. Where do they go from there?
Yeah, that's what I thought. We'd tease people, and we just keep them for this. We just keep them stuck in the skate park the rest of the time. Nah, just kidding. Well, let's see what's on the other side of the wall here. Everybody's look. There's a fence. It's hard to go live. The pressure's on. I'll try not to push Mongo. That's one thing that get called out. Oh, look, we escaped. There's a lot of guys online that have escaped, found ways. They're just like prison break trying to get through the fence. They get a glitch, they bounce over. Well, this is actually what happens when you get out there. We got a big open world. Our philosophy is that everything's pretty much open to you from the beginning. You hear that a lot. Whoa, I'm doing good, considering it's not pretty random. The world is open to you. We look at it more, you get to meet people, you do some challenges, and then you may unlock some places based on what you're doing and your reputation. But other than that, we're really happy because all these people are playing the demo. They're gonna, what's she doing laying on the ground?
Things happen.
Things happen. Oh, they're all over the place. The other AI
now
skaters.
She's laying down. Way to go.
Yeah, I'm following, who's that? Chris Haslam or somebody. Yeah. So there's Path of Destruction led by other skaters. We got a notable spot. I just blowing by there. And you can't hit people.
Nice.
So, it's hard. I'm like playing and talking.
Yeah, no, it's cool. So let's talk about some of the progression in Skate. I mean, you've got this big open world. Where do you start? Where do you go? I mean, I know the X Games are in here at the end, so you can end up as like a pro skater and all that stuff. What is the story of Skate? What are you doing?
Well, absolutely. Basically, start you know, the zero to hero kind of thing, all that stuff, it's been done. But yeah, it really is what we got to teach you how to skateboard. We're asking you to do something completely new that people are, just to get used to the controls. We start in the skate park. The people that have done the demo, they're going to blaze through that. They're going to get good.
Yeah.
They're going to show their proficiency, play a game of skate with a kid. And then he sends you, say, hey, you know what? Go ahead down to the school. There's some guys shooting photos. And then you do the things that a skateboarder would do in order to progress his career. You shoot photos. Filming's integral to it, so we let you do some filming. Contests. We have contests. If you've done the demo, you'll play some contests. We really try to take a different approach. Make it feel like the chaos that a real skateboard contest is. Best trick means everybody's going at once. You're trying to nail a particular sequence or trick. Jam, it's chaos. It's doing the best line and just accumulating as many points as possible. And then as you're going along, you're progressing basically from the back of the magazine to the front. People that know skateboarding, really, we don't have a Super Bowl, so getting the cover of a magazine, getting the big video part, that is our Super Bowl. Yeah. That is our Stanley Cup Canadian content. NHL, woohoo!
Gotta get the rules. 20% Canadian content on this show. That's 80% of our questions come from Canada, so 20.
Absolutely,
it's the rules.
I'm there, you know, so that's good. And so you do what you would do, and along the way, as you're accomplishing these things, you know, you get the cover of a magazine. You've arrived. You're going to get a call from the X Games. Come on and skate.
Cool.
And suddenly you're going to get a whole different experience. You may have seen some of the mega ramp stuff that Danny Wade does. He's in our game. He pioneered the mega ramp. It's in the game, and the crazy thing is that, you know, you're going to street skate, you're going to pool skate, you're going to do all these other things. Suddenly you're going to get open to a whole new experience where it's just like, grab the edge of your seat, hold on. You're just like, everybody that plays it just howls. They have a good time. So
nice.
We're so good. And then at the end, you actually can get, once you get your second magazine cover, Danny Way will give you the call, and he's got a super secret spot that's insane. So it makes we got a mega ramp. That's the mini mega.
Okay.
There's a bigger mega.
There's more action to come.
Absolutely.
Wow. So one of the things definitely that people are talking about when it comes to skate is the control scheme. The word I've been using after playing it. It feels very organic. How do the controls work? And really, was that your goal? Is to have it just kind of flow?
Well, if you say it's organic and it flows, then that sounds like we've done our job. So yeah, put it down. I'll try to channel a buddy of mine, producer Jay Ballmer. He's the demo master. I'm not so good because I'm kind of like a skater, so it's like, figure it out. Nobody told me how to skateboard. They gave me a skateboard, said go figure it out, but we'll try to help you out. So you got 2 feet. If we take a look at the screen there, you got 2 feet. You can push Mongo, push with 1 foot, push with the other. That thing called Mongo, skaters just lose their minds. If you push Mongo, they do not like it. So that's actually shows a degree of
so uncultured.
Exactly. They'll rip you apart. They flame you if you on the message boards if you push Mongo. So try not to make that mistake, as I just did on whatever we're doing here. And basically what it is, you got 1 or 2 pushes, gets you up to speed, and you really don't need to keep pushing. The left stick, one hand, it's like any game in most games, controls your body. You can do your power slides, you can do stuff like that, and that's your steering. Let's take another push. You got one hand, so your right hand is the right trigger, left hand, left trigger. It's as simple as that. But where it gets more interesting, the right stick is your trick stick. It is the one that controls your board. So now I can start doing manuals. If I pull back, the simple act of pulling back, flicking forward, that's an ollie. Everybody knows, from playing other video games, the skateboard, if you've done any, you'll know what an ollie is. Ours, it's a very visceral, you use organic. I think it's a very visceral sensation. How low you crouch, how hard you flick it forward, that's how big an ollie you're gonna get.
So depending on how you work the stick, I mean, you're gonna get lower ollies, higher ollies, the quality of your ollie can vary.
And once you're in the air, that stick also controls your board. So if I push forward, I land it to a nose grind. If I pull back, I'll land to a 5-0. I got a frontside salad there, a little bit off. But you can see it's like all the control is really for the board. It's in that stick. So if I want to, if I want to get hit by a car,
sure.
Because I wasn't steering, I was one hand. Every button once you get out in the world here. So if you're paying attention, you can pull back and you can go all the way to the point where you're stopping by dragging your tail, just like a little kid drags his tail to learn how to stop.
Yeah.
And so, really there's 4 things. You got 2 pushes, you got your body with the 1, you got your grabs with the triggers, and then you got all control with your stick. People often, the other thing, the magic thing is, well, how do you grind? There's no button to grind. Jay's fond of saying, we're not against buttons, but in skateboarding, there's no button to grind. How do you grind? Land on the thing you want to grind, and that's how you do it. So it's about your timing, giving yourself the time to line it up, and however you land on it, that's how you grind.
Cool. So overall, would you say that you're taking like a more realistic approach to skateboarding?
Absolutely.
Definitely, like not like the big over-the-top video game stuff. I mean, you're going to be doing stuff that skaters do. You're not going to be like dropping, like landing 900s within the first 5 minutes of playing the game.
See, we took a little bit of a different philosophy. Everything's there. There's no skill progression in terms of, unlocking stat points or getting special powers. It's all right there. Now, how your mastery of it, we're finding it takes a long time. To get really good, to do a 900, you can do a 900, but to do it right away, you're going to have to know how to pump, how to get the speed. You're going to have to learn the skills of skateboarding. The right surface. You got to find the right place to do it. It's not going to come easy and cheap. And we want you to feel that sense of accomplishment. It's not just picking it up, I hit some buttons and I did it. If that's what you're into, we're stoked. You can do it. The other thing I would say, rather than getting too trapped in, it's a totally realistic game, sure, but reality is gnarly enough. We have Danny Wei's in the game. He jumped the Great Wall of China.
Yeah.
We have guys like Chris Cole who gapped Wallenberg, which is this monstrous ledge gap. It's just like a huge set of stairs. These guys are doing these things in real life. We don't need to trivialize it. We just need to celebrate it. So what we did with the cameras, we brought it in a little lower in tight, just like skateboarding. We sell it by bringing it in there. Yeah. You can see, and then that little ollie onto a curb felt like an accomplishment.
Yeah.
So we wanted it to be like that.
Cool. So now you have this intense editing suite, I guess, of replays and all that stuff. We've seen some of that stuff before. What other ways can you share the experience with other players? Is there going to be an online multiplayer mode?
Absolutely. Online multiplayer is going to blow up. We can already see, just the community that's coming out of a demo.
Right.
And what we're finding is that there's going to be a lot, because we have the filming and the ability to post your skate reel on our skate reel, your tricks and your footage.
Yeah.
User-created content, user-created challenges are already happening. We think we know all the gaps. Like, oh yeah, I got this gap. Some little kid came along first day and did a gap that we just blew our minds. We're like, oh yeah, really? He posted the footage and suddenly there's a challenge for us. We think we're good? Nah, we're not good. Completely humiliated, humbled, and that's a cool thing. We've got races, we've got trick contests, we've got a bunch of different things that you could do in the online, and it's really fun. You could get, and then the other thing that a lot of skaters, it's not always about competition. There's free skate. You can free skate with about 6 to 8 people, and then you could just go, and the city's huge chunks of the city are open to you to free skate. You'll get lost in there with your friends just cruising around.
Cool. Well, it sounds pretty intense, Chris. Thanks a lot for coming by and showing it to us. Skate. What platforms is it coming out on, and when are we going to see it?
We're going to see it later this month. I'm not sure exactly. I'm going to get to a real quick hill here.
Cool, yeah.
And because that's the thing that people have been missing. Later this month, and it's on PS3 and Xbox 360.
Awesome. So you guys are done with the game then?
Yeah, I'm glad I actually got to come over here and sit in your chair and get to play it, because it's been a little while. I've been kind of taking time off and touring around, talking to people about it, and getting hit by cars.
Yeah, so going down hills.
Going downhill is dangerous.
For experts only. Cool.
Right,
thanks a lot,
Thanks
man.
a lot. Peace.
All right, now let's kick it over as our coverage from Electronic Arts continues.
Thanks, guys. We're here in the gymnasium where there's a whole ton of games, and I'm joined by Matt Tomporowski, who's an associate producer with EA Canada, and we're talking about Medal of Honor Heroes 2. Tell us about the game from a high level. What's going on with this game?
Okay, so it's a new game we're doing. Heroes 2 is for the Wii and PSP. And we have 3 big features. We're looking at the Wii game right now. So the 3 features on the Wii that are big for us are, first and foremost, we've got our arcade mode, which is, think of it as a rail shooter in the Medal of Honor world. So it's there for casual gamers. You can pick up and play. You'll see people here today playing it with the Wii Zapper. You can play with it with the Zapper and the normal Wii controls. We also have a full-featured campaign mode for your FPS fans where you can explore the environment. That mode has a bunch of really cool Wii gestures. For example, you can use a bazooka just like you would use a real rocket launcher. So you actually lift the Wii remote over your shoulder, you fire it, you hear the sound of the bazooka in your ear from the Wii speaker, you feel it rumble. Again, it's experiencing the weapons of World War II in a way that you've never experienced them before in a video game. And a final big feature is we have 32-player multiplayer online on the Wii and PSP.
So as you were saying, the game, well, first of all, let's set the setting. What campaigns are we doing here in Medal of Honor Heroes 2? What's the setting?
So what we've done is we've really wanted to pay homage to that classic adventure espionage feel that the early Medal of Honor games have. So you're going to play as an OSS agent who's going in on one particular mission that takes place over 8 levels. The levels are set in Normandy. these levels are very diverse. So you'll start off with a beach assault, then you infiltrate a submarine port, and then you fight your way through urban settings, through rural settings, into secret bases. By keeping the game focused in this one particular area, we've been able to go really deep and create battlefields that are very realistic, that are very full and very rich, and we think they look really great on the Wii.
And as you were saying, you can play the levels both in arcade mode and in story mode. How's it different from a gameplay standpoint then?
Okay, so there are 8 levels on the Wii, and that's right, you can play every level in arcade and story mode. So when you play in arcade mode, the gameplay is very casual. You have your weapon, and you basically can point and shoot on the screen. The game moves you through the environment. Very easy to do. When you're in the campaign mode, that's where you get the story, you get the adventure, you get the sense of exploration. And as you work your way through the campaign, and you pick up these different weapons, you try out these different Wii gestures, there you're really experiencing that kind of classic FPS adventure of exploring your way through an environment as you defeat your enemies.
So let's take a look at this attachment you have for the Wii Remote and the Nunchuck. Tell us about this. What can you tell us about this this new accessory, I guess?
Okay, this is the Wii Zapper, and this will be a new accessory that'll be out for the Nintendo Wii before Christmas. And how it works is you fit your Wii Remote and your Nunchuck into it, and then basically that's your controller. And the neat thing about it is it gives you that feeling of, you know, holding and pointing a gun. And it's just a new way of interacting with the game. And one thing we found is as you play the game, you can play with standard controls or with the Wii Zapper. It just really makes it feel a little bit more immersive. As you shoot, it really feels like you're playing with, you know, essentially a toy gun.
And you're as you mentioned earlier, you're using different weapons in this game. So what kind of prompts are you getting on screen to say, hey, I've got a bazooka now, put it up on your shoulder? How are you informing the player that they need to switch it up?
So we've got a help system built in the game, and there are different levels of help. So first and foremost, every time you pick up a new weapon, we actually pause the game and we give you a little tutorial. To go one step further, we actually have little HUD helper icons that'll actually pop on every time you're using that particular weapon. So when you use the bazooka, you get very specific, clear instructions on how to use it. Now, those are game options that are customizable. So if you've been playing the game for a while and you want to turn those off, you have the freedom to do that.
And the online play sounds amazing. 30, 32 players online?
That's right. We'll have 32-player multiplayer. That's for both Wii and PSP. And we're really excited about it. It runs at a really high frame rate. We're pushing 60 frames per second. And there's 3 game modes, six maps. It's just really exciting.
And the maps are from the story mode or all new?
Well, they're all new maps. They're custom made. Now they are built on our story mode maps, so there'll be some similarity in how they look. However, these maps have been custom built for multiplayer. They've been balanced. They've been gameplay tested, all with multiplayer in mind.
Cool. Well, the game is Medal of Honor Heroes 2. When's the game coming out, Matt?
November 13th.
All right. Well, we'll look forward to it. And thanks for your time. And back to you guys in the studio.
I think Thanks, Brian. We are back, and I'm joined by Scott Amos and Jonathan Knight of Electronic Arts. So we're here with the Simpsons game. Guys, thanks for coming by.
Thank you.
So this game is looking very awesome. Why don't you tell us about it? The Simpsons, it's a television show?
Yeah, you may have heard of it. This is pretty exciting new Simpsons game. It really, I think, is going to kind of reinvent Simpsons as a gaming platform. It's really a game above all that's about gaming. It satirizes the whole gaming universe, and I think, you know, if you're a gamer and you like The Simpsons and you like the world of gaming, then you're going to be blown away by what this game offers.
Cool. Now, one of the things you guys have been talking about all along is that you're going to be kind of parodying video games as you go and showing some different things. What is this section of the game here that we're showing? What's happening?
Well, what we're going to show you today is Invasion of the Yokel Snatchers. It's one of 16 episodes in the game. It's about in the middle of the game in what we call Chapter 2, which is our kind of Halloween special homage. So there's several episodes in this chapter that you'll recognize if you watch the show and you've seen these great Halloween episodes. In this particular episode, Homer and Bart are fighting their way across the mall parking lot and trying to infiltrate the spaceship that's come down and invaded Springfield. So what I've done here is I've dropped in as Bart. Scott is playing as Homer. The entire game is drop in, drop out co-op. Every episode is a 2-character episode, so we're Bart and Homer, and the buddy AI will take over if Scott or I drop out. But we're going to work together to infiltrate the spaceship here.
Now, it looks like you have a lot of collectibles there. You found a Duff bottle cap. What do you get for collecting items around the world?
So there's collectibles in every episode. If you get all the collectibles for one character in an episode, so like if we get all the Bart coupons in this episode, I'll get a trophy. Every 6 trophies I get, the power meter will increase. And that's really important because power is the one unified resource in the game. You'll see Scott is absorbing the orbs there into Homer, and I just got a few. So power drives everything. It's everything from Homer's burp to Bart's slingshot, all the way up to Homer Ball, Gummy Homer, Marge Mob Control, Lisa's Hand of Buddha. All these powers in the game use this one power resource. So if you get all the collectibles, you're going to get more and more power to use, and the further you get in the game, the more you'll appreciate that.
Cool. Now, if we can just talk about technology for a second here. Now, just the way Homer looks, just the way everything looks in this game, we've seen a lot of games that always claim to look like a cartoon, or they do a lot of cell shading, this game looks unlike anything else that's come before it in a lot of ways. And what went into making, when Homer's blown up and rolling around, like the way he deforms and moves around, like what went into that?
Well, there's a lot of great tech behind this. We have just an awesome team that's been working for the last 2 years to build, what we call kind of a cartoon engine that's really a next-gen cartoon engine. A couple things I can point out quickly. As I spin around Bart, you'll notice that his eyes actually stay on model no matter what angle I'm looking at him from. So what that means is that, we can stay on model. The show draws these characters differently from different angles, but in real-time 3D, we have to kind of catch up to whatever angle looks best on that character. The Homer Ball is a great piece of tech. That's a real-time deforming Homer Ball. And there's a lot of great kind of shader work that goes on here. It's more than just the line render and the toon shader. It's difficult to get my ass kicked by aliens while I'm talking. Sorry about that.
That's
little
okay.
help, Homer. Little help.
I'm down here.
So I'm gonna answer your next question while Bart lays dead on the ground, surrounded by aliens.
So what does death mean in this game? Can one player go, revive the other? Or?
It's the game is all about buddy, and it's all about co-op. So if you lose both characters, you're going to get reset to the last checkpoint, and that's really what you want to avoid, is losing both characters. But if you lose one, the character will regen after a brief amount of time. You can also actually go up to that second character and revive them, which costs you power.
So you're saying it's exactly like Gears of War. Simpsons game, Gears of War, just like Gears of War. No.
That's one of many, many games that this is like. The thing about this game is that, and what you'll see here in a second, as soon as we get across this next chasm, is we're actually going to go into one of our many, many video game parody homages. This game really looks at the last 30 years of gaming, and like I said, it satirizes the whole gaming universe. So. You're right there, Scott. Did you get warned?
I'm sitting there talking.
This is a special challenge, being interviewed while you play. Where's that third guy that was supposed to be with us? So where are you, Homer? There you are. There are a number of different levels in the game where we go from anything from just a joke or a sign that you might recognize if you've been playing games for a long time, all the way to mini games, to entire levels that are parodies of whole genres of gaming. So here's one of my favorites, which is you've been fighting all these aliens, and of course it makes perfect sense that now we go to a top-down camera and play a throwback to Space Invaders. And you can hear Bart and Homer actually commenting on the fact that they're stuck in kind of a 70s arcade game.
So part of the game's plot is that they've become aware that they're in a video game?
Exactly.
So does that drive like kind of a lot of the story and a lot of the humor is kind of coming from that area?
Definitely. I mean, we want everything that we do from EA, from everything we do in this business, from video games. Plus, Jonathan, at one point we looked through, and we have pretty much 30 years of video game history wrapped up in this thing. Mm-hmm. From the earliest games like Space Invaders, all the way through games, like Joust, and then even, more recent classics. We have an area that looks suspiciously like Grand Theft Auto called Grand Theft Scratchy. So we actually have a full episode dedicated to just that mentality. And the point is we want to make this a game about gaming and a game for gamers. So it has tons of unique mechanics, some very classic and familiar mechanics as well. No. And of course, there's always a penalty if you don't play the game right.
Nice. So, who would you say the game is primarily focused at? I mean, you have all these video game parodies for people that have been playing games for a very long time. But then on top of that, the Simpsons universe is just huge. What are you doing there to really kind of bring it home for the Simpsons fan? Are you going out of your way to get all these crazy obscure characters and stuff?
The audience for the game is exactly the intersection between Simpsons fans and gamers. And that's what's special about the game, is that it's not just for gamers, it's not just for Simpsons fans, it's really that intersection. And you're going to see, if you're a hardcore Simpsons fan, you're going to see references to shows going all the way back to the early seasons. You're going to see crossovers between the show and the game. If you're a gamer, you're going to see references to stuff that goes back to the Apple II or the SNES or and all the way up to today, like Scott was saying. So it's really that intersection, and we find that the Simpsons fan community and the gamer community just has an unbelievable overlap. And that's really from day one what we went after. At the same time, the game is very approachable. The drop-in and drop-out co-op is going to make it so that, you might have one gamer in your family that is just plowing through the game, but then the more casual gamer, the brother, the sister, the friend who comes over can pick up that second controller and join in and really help, and so we think it's going to appeal broadly to casual gamers, hardcore gamers. Every episode has a challenge mode that you can unlock when you complete it. So in this particular case, we're going to hopefully defeat these aliens at some point, but we'll be able to go back and play this as a time challenge off of the menu. And that's true of all 16 episodes in the game.
So Space Invaders, just like the real thing,
you guys
not
you're
easy.
You're going to be able to cut in
This is live, baby.
victory screens over that, right?
Yeah. When we put up
do we have the victory screen that we could just cut in?
When we get the rerun, we'll just put it in there like,
Okay.
they totally wasted them in Space Invaders. Everyone can be Space Invaders. Well, guys, thanks a lot for coming by. The game looks outstanding. Now, my last question, is Mr. Sparkle going to be in there? We're going to see Mr. Sparkle?
Absolutely. I don't know if you saw earlier today, we actually announced one of the other parody episodes, not just making fun of Space Invaders and Grand Theft Scratch and anything else, but an area called Big Super Happy Fun Land.
Naturally.
So basically you start in a small village and then you have an ice world, a lava land, as well as an airship that you have to travel up. Even has some great references to Sparklemon battles, so you can guess where that influence comes from. So it's absolutely something you're going to enjoy.
I did see the thing earlier. I just wanted to hear you guys say it.
It's there. It's absolutely
All right, Scott and Jonathan, thanks a lot for coming by. The game is the Simpsons game. When are you looking to ship it? What platforms?
So we're shipping actually 6 different platforms. So PS3 and 360, we have the Wii, the DS, the PSP, and the PS2, and we're shipping later this year in time for the holiday season.
Of course. Awesome. Thanks, guys. Now we're going to go over to Ryan Davis, who is joining us. Is joined by another EA representative with Battlefield Bad Company. Take it away.
That's right, Jeff. I'm now joined by Carl Magnus Troedsen. You are a senior producer at DICE Stockholm.
That's right.
How's it going, sir?
Good. Thank you.
Thanks for coming by. You've come to show us Battlefield Bad Company.
Absolutely.
So it's, obviously we're coming from the Battlefield lineage. We're talking a first-person shooter, military setting, but it seems like that's kind of where the similarities start to not be the same from previous Battlefield games. Tell us what the setup is here.
There's a lot of things that are different from other Battlefield games that we've had before, and one of the big things is that we now have a fully-fledged character and story-driven single-player part in it.
So the single player now a more significant part of the experience for Battlefield fans.
Yeah.
What's the setup? Let's jump into it. But what's going on in Bad Company?
When we jump into the game right now, we're somewhere in the eastern parts of Europe.
Okay.
We're there with our squad mates, the 3 of them that we're going to follow throughout the game, and we're about to invade a neutral country actually in our chase for the gold treasure, this mercenary gold that we've been chasing throughout the game. So in order to get there, we need to just jump the Russians that have this border crossing, and we need to take them by surprise and try to get through as quickly as we can.
So right off the bat, we're not talking about like military organizations. You're mercs.
Well, you don't play mercs. Actually, we play the U.S. Army, but there are 3 other armies in the game: the Russians and the Middle East Coalition, and then you have the Mercenary Army, which is the deadliest one. So I'm going to kick it off here by using the Mortar Strike Radio, which is a pretty powerful gadget that we have in the game, which is good for just taking out things if they're like the 50 caliber gun down there.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, excellent.
So are you just painting that target with?
Yeah, I'm sending the coordinates back to the shelter or whatever they call it, where you have the actual guys firing the mortar strike. We have another nest over there down by the street. We really don't want to get in the crossfire over there. So this is where a new handy feature of the Frostbite engine enables us to use the destruction of the various things in the game. So if I want to go in there, can't find a door, just make one. If you have the right tools for the job, you can destroy pretty much everything in this game. If I want to go out on the other side, if you just kill,
it's a little smoky.
Yeah,
there you go.
There we go. We go out on the other side again.
So we're talking entirely new engine for this game.
Absolutely.
And obviously a huge focus on destruction here.
Yeah. So I mean, when we started out building this game a long time ago and building the Frostbite game engine, we felt that we need to do something to really, it's next gen. It's not just about visual eye candy. It's about doing something with the gameplay as well.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So, I mean, aside from simple stuff like, making your own path, how else does destruction kind of figure into the gameplay experience?
Well, it depends on how much imagination you actually have, I think, because it's a similar way to what Battlefield has done before. Like in Battlefield 2, the people strapped C4 on the Jeep and drove it into whatever it might be to take out the enemies. You can use your imagination here as well and to create, an example. A sniper doesn't always have to lay on the same roof like you do in Strike Echo Can, the old BF2 level, for instance. You can just, go up in a house on the second floor, third floor, make a hole in the wall, and suddenly you have a perfect vantage point over the street or something like that.
Now you talked about you've got your teammates that are with you. Talk to us a little bit about just what the team tactics are like. Is this kind of like with Modern Combat, where it was switching between characters?
It's actually the opposite. You don't switch between the characters in such a way. We want to stay away from that. Since we want you to play one character. You play Preston Marlowe, which is one character, and then you have 3 other characters that you get to know throughout the story as their story unfolds and why they ended up in B Company, so to say.
Excellent.
Yeah. We're going to see the helicopter coming in, and that's a pretty powerful foe. I climbed into this anti-aircraft gun just to try to take it out, which is also very handy if you have vegetation that is in your way, because destruction applies to that as well. So you can just pretty much just mow everything down.
Shredding this, that's a world's meanest lawnmower right there.
I'm going to try to take out the helicopter here, see if I can do some damage. Yeah, there we go, I got him. Just going to crash into the forest. There we go.
Excellent.
So we like to call it tactical destruction because it's not just eye candy. It's more of, if somebody's hiding behind a wall like that up in the house, I'm about to die here. I need to heal myself with the adrenaline shots, which I stabbed myself in the chest with. I
have to say, I'm going to say I've never stabbed myself in the chest with a needle before.
Playing this game,
but
you will have.
I'm going to say that he seemed like he recovered from that pretty quickly. I'd say I'd probably need to take a little. Again, I'm not in any sort of military organization, but I think I'd probably need to take a little pause.
Yeah. So, I mean, the game, when we talked about this as well, it's not all, right now we jump straight into the action, but there will be calmer moments as well, because it can't be all this action all the time. We believe that when you tell the story, we present the characters, there needs to be more calmer moments.
Now, you're talking about there's being these multiple factions that you're dealing with here. Does your relationship with one affect that with another, or is it just they're always aggressive towards you?
No, they're always aggressive towards. Well, not the U.S. Army. You have to fool the U.S. Army every now and then, or the friendlies, because you have to get around their orders, so to say. But when you meet them, there will be hostiles pretty much all the time if you can't fool them. So they don't have that much to do with each other. It's more of, we see it as the squad going on an adventure within the war. So they start out in Eastern Europe, and then they move through Russia, and they move through on this. So it's not about the war in itself. It's more about what happens in this adventure.
So these guys are in the U.S. Army, but they're not really acting like it.
Well, in the beginning they are. In the beginning they're all like, okay, we're good for this, but they've been placed in Bad Company for various reasons. I mean, Bad Company, that's where the army put their, the renegades, the people that they want to get rid of, or whatever it might be.
All the bad eggs in one basket.
Exactly, and they send them on suicide mission. And the squad in this game, they get tired of that, and they want to, they want to find something else. And when they start hearing rumors about this mercenary gold treasure, they decide to go for it. But that means that they have to leave their own army behind. They have to go AWOL. They have to break orders. So the game isn't about getting medals and honor and those kind of things. It's about the other side of the spectrum.
It's about mercenary gold.
Yes, exactly.
Oh, exploding barrels.
Yeah, well, you need them if you can hit them, I mean.
Excellent. Jeff.
Yes.
You want to shoot us some questions from the folks at home?
I most certainly do. Let's see here. We have a question from Nate in Indiana who wants to know a little bit more about the physics. How much work had to go into the physics in this game to get it up to this level?
Quite a lot, I would say. I mean, we're working with Havoc in the game engine, so we can get a lot of that power in there. That together with Frostbite gives us the power so we can do a lot of it. So the physics that are being replicated on various things is quite advanced.
Oh, and then you ate it.
And I died.
Now, we're looking at the single player here. Is there still going to be a multiplayer component to Bad Company?
Absolutely. I mean, we're DICE. We would never ship a game without a very strong multiplayer. We don't talk that much about the multiplayer right now, but there will be like, I don't know, 50-50 focus on the actual game when it get out there. So it depends on what kind of player you are. Do you want to play play offline or online. You know, we try to cater to both.
Excellent. Is there any sort of co-op stuff in there?
Co-op, no.
No. Okay. Strictly competitive there for the online. Jeff Gerstmann, more questions, please.
Okay, let's see. Bjorn in Norway wants to know: can you make a building fall on someone, or can you make the different, the physics? Can you kill dudes with trees and all kinds of stuff like that?
Absolutely. I mean, if you shoot at a tree, I don't know if you saw that in the clip before. If you shoot at a tree and it falls down, it will break. There various things that it hits. If it hits somebody, it will damage them as well. So it depends on it. Not every single piece of debris you want kill somebody, but because we can't replicate everything over the network. But there's still a lot of things that are going to affect each other when it happens.
If a building or something explodes, is there shrapnel to worry about?
Yeah.
Excellent.
And shockwave from the actual damage of what kind of weapon it is.
Now, we saw earlier you called in that artillery strike. Are there what other kind of big weapons are people going to be able to access in this?
Well, the Mortar Strike is one cool gadget, which is a handheld gadget. You, of course, have a lot of different vehicles as well. It's Battlefield, so we have air vehicles, land vehicles, sea vehicles. But when it comes to the infantry, we also have something that we call the laser designator. You can use to fire at vehicles, which means that a jet flies by, drop a bomb, and you guide it in. I'll see if I can find a sniper kit, and I'll see if I can demo that to you, because it looks really nice, actually.
While you're on your way there, I want to know about actually piloting vehicles. I saw you earlier, you were in a Jeep. What other types of vehicles? I mean, is it going to be the full range of Battlefield? Am I going to be able to get into a jet at some point in this game?
Well, jets we're staying away from because they fly too fast, actually. But we have helicopters of various kinds, attack helicopters, transport helicopters, all these different kinds of air vehicles that we have.
Excellent. Are we getting our way to our
it's just
sniper pack here?
I don't know where I'll put it. Maybe I'll put it here.
Find these guys, get them out of your way first. Jeff, can you shoot me another question while we're on our way to the sniper pack?
I most definitely can. Rodolfo in Peru, I believe that might be our first question from Peru, wants to know if the enemies can also take advantage of the ability to destroy the environment to get at you.
Yes, they can. Let's see if I don't know how much time we have left, if we can play all the way over there, but I'll...
let's see this...
let's use I'm going to bounce it off the vehicle down here.
Okay.
So I'm right... Ooh, I need to heal myself first. The AI is pretty dangerous in this demo, but... Here we go.
There it is.
I'm going to bounce it off. I need to hold it for a couple of seconds and stand still, and I'm pretty vulnerable at that point.
They're giving you trouble.
Let's try again. We'll try here.
All right, paint it. And so
we're painting it for a couple of seconds. And that should do it. Now we're locked on. Now I need to guide the bomb in. This is like a small mini game. Let's see if we can see it.
Oh wow!
It's down there at the square. Let's see if we can hit it. It's a bit hard.
Off,
jump out
off.
and there we go. We take it out. So this is a very, very powerful gadget that you can use. So you can have a sniper sneaking around, taking pot shots at people. But if you have an enemy tank coming in, you can also use this weapon to take them out.
Excellent. Jeff, you want to give us some more questions?
I've got actually just a comment. We got to stretch this thing out because I want to see this tank.
Okay, let's do that.
I got to see the tank earlier, and it was glorious to see it go down. I want to see you get to the tank and do it in real rough.
I'm going to try to play through as quickly as I can so we get to that, because
Cool.
I like that part as well. I have a knife now. That's not the best thing.
But I have an actual...
I need to clear the last house, and that's
I have an actual question from the audience as well. Derek in Tennessee wants to know, can you shoot through walls? Are there any kind of bullet penetration just with your standard assault rifle and stuff?
Absolutely. I mean, look at this shed, for instance. If I run in here and I think that I will be in cover, that won't help me. The people can shoot through that with pretty much all the weapons that they have. If you run into a house, then you're in better cover. But if we, like we do, we have this. There you go. Yep, that's the last guy, I think. If we see if we can move on. Let's just clear the last house here. So now the mission moves forward, we get a bit of an in-game VO moment. We need to gather the squad together again. Let's see if they're here.
Hey, orange smoke, just like outside earlier today.
Exactly. Actually, I think the squad is busy somewhere else. Where are they at? So right now they're busy engaging some other enemies. I need to help them out, clear that out before we can move on. I think they're hiding over here.
Is that, so are they the red circles up on the minimap there?
So as soon as I spot somebody or somebody shoots at me or one of my friends spots an enemy, they will show up on the minimap. So he doesn't see me there, that's good. I can shoot him straight through the fence. There's one on the other side there as well. Oh, I missed him. There we go. While I'm here, I really want to show you this feature.
Okay.
The vegetation destructing I showed before, that we're really going for this before and after shot. There's about 30,000 trees on a level like this, and you can mow them all down like this in all its glory. So there's a lot of this environment that, see, you even got an achievement there, Happy Lumberjack. Meaning that, I mean, we tie a lot of things into what you're doing, so the destruction will, you know, it will resonate in the persistence of the game as well. So let's see if we can move on. It all has to do with the squad. They have to follow me to that place, and if they don't, sometimes they don't want to do that.
So you've got some pretty excellent gear here. What sort of weapon loadouts can you equip your character with?
Well, it's especially in the single player, there's going to be pacing, of course, included. So you need to, you know, pace it so how you deliver it when you get the laser designated for the first time.
Sure.
But I mean, when you play it in multiplayer, there will be a lot of different things going on with the actual loadouts. That you will, you know, the persistence, you will unlock different things, and you can add that to your loadout when you start playing and so forth. So now we have a short VO moment here.
If you would actually refer to this tactic as surgical.
I know. There's blood all over the place.
Yeah, right. Hey, what's that sound?
So now the tank is coming in that we talked about before. It's coming in over the bridge over there, and that's a really serious enemy. And you've seen me doing a lot of destruction right now, but the AI is going to do that as well. If you hide behind various things, they will try to blow you out of the water pretty much. So this tank, with that main gun, can destroy anything. If we run in here and hide inside the house, and he spots us, we are not really that safe. Because he has already taken out that part. He's looking for me now. He saw me. That's dangerous. I need to heal myself. I only have a couple of seconds now. I'm going to try to use the laser designator again. See if I can see him through the smoke there. Where is he? There he is. Let's go. If he sees us near, now we have a problem. Oh, hide.
You almost had it.
Yeah, almost.
Oh, except that you'd be totally exposed while you're guiding the...
So this is a typical sniper kit that you need to be careful about how you do this. So I'm going to try to bounce it off again.
So you're already locked on from your
So it works through the smoke, which is pretty cool as well. So now I'm just going to take cover for a bit and then guide the bomb in again. Let's see if I can hit it. This is my TV.
I'm going to square up with it.
There we go. And the tank is dead. There you go.
Awesome.
That's how you do it.
Excellent. Well, I say that's a grand finish to the demo.
Cool.
Carl Magnus, thanks for coming by and giving us a look at Battlefield Bad Company. We're looking at the Xbox 360 version of this. You're also going to do a PS3 version?
Absolutely.
And you're looking at an 08 release date right now? Do you have a solid one, or are you just...
It's not pretty set yet, but it's, you know, in the beginning of 08.
Early 08?
Early, I would say.
We'll call it the first half.
Yeah, first half, it sounds good.
Be generous with you. Thanks again, sir, for coming by and giving us a look at the game.
Yeah, my pleasure.
Up next, we've got to look at NHL 08.
Perfect. Cool. Thanks a lot.
GameSpot's live coverage of the
I've never done live
2007 EA
This one
Studio
got stuck down there.
Showcase
That
is
was a bit
here, and
frustrating.
we're talking NHL 08 with David Littman, a familiar face on GameSpot. We're talking hockey, man. How you doing?
Good. How are you?
I'm doing great, man. So this game's almost out, but there's so much to talk about. So much is new in this game. I guess we start with your favorite. What's your favorite feature this year?
I think, you know, there's so much in the game that's new from 07 that, you know, it's hard to pinpoint one thing, but I guess I'm most proud of the AI. I think out of any sports game I've played lately, just the AI continues to surprise me every time I play it. And I've said this before that, you know, I think we've brought the next-gen graphics, but now it's time to start bringing the next-gen AI to consumers and letting them see what it really feels like to play against a really smart AI that learns from you. And so if our AI is learning off you and they get better every time you play, well, then you can go in and create a play to beat them, and then they'll learn that. And it's just this constant back and forth, and it really feels like you're a hockey coach, but of course you get to play the game as well.
Yeah, I think we've talked about this before, but it seemed like the creative play added a new burden on your AI, and I'm wondering how you prepared for that and how you went about making sure that if I create a play that the AI would be capable of beating it eventually.
Well, that's a good point. I think that, you know, there's so much our AI can learn, and we have like 30 or 40 different types of plays that they pick up on. But, you know, there's going to be people out there who make this unbelievable play that just happens to be able to beat the defense now and then, but I guarantee they won't be able to keep doing that. And part of the reason is because our AI, if they find that you're beating them, in front of the net in the slot and find, maybe a tip in or deflection all the time, they'll just stay back and maybe they'll put 2D in front to block that. And it's not like they have to know too many things. Our AI just has to know the basics of hockey and learn from what you do. And if they just follow the basics of what a real NHL defenseman or NHL offenseman would do, then they're going to be fine. And I think we have a lot of ex-hockey players on our team, and they know what defense needs to do. And it's really fun to watch our defensive AI in action. But again, that's not just the only thing. I think the skating is just so much better than last year. That's the first thing everyone notices, how smooth the skating is and how responsive the skating is. And it really adds a whole new level to offense and defense.
And of course, the stick handling is great this year. You sort of revolutionized stick handling with last year's game, but how have things changed this time around?
It's funny because I'm so proud of so many things, but yet one of our biggest new features I don't even talk about that much because there's so much else in the game. But once people learn the basics of the controls, the skill stick controls your stick, the left stick controls your skates. We added a new depth to that control system this year, which is one-on-one deke. So I could beat a defender by releasing the puck off my stick, hopping around him, and getting the puck on the other side. And the key there is that it's not canned. There's some animation in there that we have for whichever way you choose to go around the guy, but anything can happen. There's a million different things that can happen every time you go in on a defenseman. And that's very powerful to give people that want to play a sports game, for a full year, and they play it 500, 600 times in a row, and we don't want them to get bored. And every time they come down on a defenseman, they have to make a decision. Do they want to try and beat the defenseman, or set up, make a pass, or shoot on goal? And same decisions that an NHL player has to make.
Yeah, and I can tell you, once you figure out how to push that puck around some guy, it feels so good once you finally get it down. It feels great.
It feels really good, and that's true. And
it's not easy though, right?
It's not easy at all because again, we're just giving people the tools to be able to do that, and we're letting them create and make the move. And again, the puck is live, so it can hit a skate or a stick. You can hit a defenseman and get checked, and you're very vulnerable during that time. So it's very tough. And as you go up in skill level, it's even tougher. When you go on Superstar, those defensemen are tough. They're not going to fall for it as much as defensemen on pro level would. So right now in our demo, we're on pro level, so it's our default skill level, so everyone can enjoy it. So I know there's some hardcore guys out there who are beating the defenseman regularly and going, wow, I could do this as easy. But when they get up on Superstar, it's going to be very tough for them to keep beating that defenseman.
Enjoy it while it lasts, because it won't last forever.
That's exactly right. We gave them a couple of weeks on pro in the demo, and when they pick up the game and they're ready for All-Star or Superstar, they're going to find a whole new AI out there.
And all those hardcore guys are going to be playing this game online, and you guys are blowing out online play this year.
We are. I mean, EA Sports as a whole, we know that online's the future. I think this is the first year that people are really seeing that, and it's just going to grow from here. And we have online leagues, of course, and we've wanted to put them in for a couple of years. We have online team play, where you can play up to 6 consoles and 6 different living rooms anywhere in the world and play with your friends or against your friends. And we have versus mode. You can play 6 on 6, so 2 consoles. You can play 6 on 6 on the PS3 and 4 on 4 on the 360, and any combination in between. And then we have shootout mode online, which is great too. And then the whole experience itself is streamlined, and people are going to find there's no lag, no latency, smooth frame rate, and they're going to be very happy with their online experience.
That's awesome. Now, I know you've talked about a 3-year plan for NHL before. We're in the 2nd year of that 3-year plan. So I know you can't talk specifics, but where do we go from here? What are you looking at for next year's game that you can talk about today, I guess?
Well, I think, we want to make online even more important and bring some of the cool stuff that you can do offline this year that you can't bring your creative plays online this year. But next year we want to be able to do that and let people experience online what they experience offline. And that's really one of our main goals. We also want to improve the game. We know it's not perfect. We know there's still some things we want to work out. We want to make it look better as well. There's still some stuff I don't like in there, like you look in replay and sometimes the puck isn't, maybe it warps a foot this way or a foot that way, and I'm always like, I wish we could fix that.
Does that bug the crap out of you?
It does bug me, and I read the forums and I read reviews and I listen to what everyone says, and so does Dean Richards, one of our other producers, and so together we sit there and we look at that, and we want to fix things that people don't like. So we read that, and we'll read reviews and make those changes as well. So we focus on improvements for 09. We're going to focus on online, and we're also going to focus on innovation. I think NHL's been at the forefront of innovation in sports games in the last couple of years, and we want to continue that and innovate next year as well.
Cool. When do we get a look at those new uniforms? Everybody wants to see those new unis.
So our game ships September 11th, and a few days after that, I'm not sure the exact date yet, depending on when the last jerseys are released by the NHL, people can go to our site, NHL site, or Reebok site and get a code. They don't need Xbox Live or anything like that. They just need to get the code, put it in the game. When they do that, all the jerseys will be unlocked, and including the AHL jerseys. As a matter of fact, people have asked how come there's no AHL screenshots out there all the time. It's because we can't put those jerseys in yet because the AHL hasn't released their new jerseys. So all will be revealed a few days after ship. I can't give you an exact date, but when it is, everyone's going to be very happy with all the jersey selections. Yeah.
Can't wait to see those jerseys. The game is coming out next week. It's NHL 08. David, thanks so much. Back to you guys on the studio.
All right, thanks, Brian. That was NHL 08, looking pretty cool. And I'm joined now by Mike Verdu. How you doing, sir? Hi. Now, you've been affiliated with Command & Conquer for a good long time now, and there's been a lot of big CNC news lately. First, why don't we talk about the original Command & Conquer? Now, you've released this for free on your website. How's the reaction to that been?
The reaction has been great. It's wonderful to be able to wish Command & Conquer a happy birthday.
Mm-hmm.
We thought we'd give our fans in the community a gift in the form of the original CNC as a download. And the reaction has been amazing. I mean, the traffic on the site has been tremendous.
Awesome.
And it's just been great to see people downloading and playing the game.
It's one of the greatest games of all time.
Absolutely.
And you also recently announced an expansion for the latest edition of the franchise, Command & Conquer 3. Now, Kane's Wrath. We have a trailer here that's going to be, this is the world premiere of the first gameplay footage of CNC 3 Kane's Wrath, correct?
So we are starting off with a bang here. We are going to show the first gameplay footage for the expansion, worldwide debut of the gameplay trailer for Command & Conquer 3 Kane's Wrath.
Awesome. Let's take it away. Let's take a look at this awesome footage of Kane's Wrath.
Prepare for ascension. Behold, my child, the sweep of history. Cabal was only the beginning.
Okay, there you have it. The first footage of Command & Conquer 3 Kane's Wrath, the expansion to CNC 3. Now, Mike, that's pretty action-packed. I mean, you can't have a trailer without some explosions. You definitely delivered on that aspect. What is the focus of Kane's Wrath?
So we're really excited about this expansion pack. We're taking some risks with this product. The campaign is basically covering 20 years of CNC history, from the end of Tiberian Sun all the way to a period after the Third Tiberian War, the one that was depicted in Command & Conquer 3. So it's an epic campaign. And we're basically letting you experience the campaign through a new strategic layer on gameplay. So you'll be able to fight all across the world. Basically, it's a non-linear path through the campaign. And I think it's a really new way to play CNC. So overlaying the strategic layer over the tactical gameplay that everybody knows and loves, the fast, fluid, and fun RTS gameplay. And then on the 360 version, we're introducing basically a new radial interface that should make RTS on console even more accessible.
Cool. Now, how will the 360 version work? Is it going to be a separate retail product? Since it's an expansion, will it be a downloadable add-on?
It's actually a standalone product.
Okay.
So for the PC, we're following the model that we have before with the standard expansion pack. On the 360, because of the limitations we have as far as the technology, we are going to release it as a standalone product.
Okay.
But we are including the units and structures from the original game, all of the multiplayer maps. So it's going to be a pretty complete offering.
Everything you need to get going.
Absolutely.
Cool. So, I mean, you say you're taking risks with the franchise, but I mean, you've really kind of stacked the deck. I mean, Kane's name is right in the title, and Command & Conquer and Kane just go together. You know, what can we expect storyline-wise over the course of this 20 years?
So we pick up the story where Tiberian Sun leaves off. Basically, Kane presumed dead. Nod is factionalized and really diminished as a threat on the world stage. It's your role to bring Kane back to power, to reunite Nod, forge them into the fighting force that you saw at the beginning of Command & Conquer 3.
Awesome.
That's the first chapter. The second chapter is sort of concurrent with the events of the Third Tiberian War, where we'll answer some questions that were raised during the campaign of CNC3. Like, what was Killian really doing? Was there really a betrayal of Kane? And then the third chapter takes us beyond the events of CNC3 into uncharted territory, where the story focuses on the Tacitus, which was a very important artifact in Tiberian Sun, and is really the focal point of the story. And the game definitely ends with a bang.
Cool. What kind of gameplay changes can we expect in terms of new units for each faction, things like that?
Lots of new toys, lots of new units and structures. Basically, we've instead of adding a new faction, we have added sub-factions to all three of the main factions in the game: GDI, Nod, and the Skrin. And these sub-factions are basically constructed to favor a style of play. And then we've introduced modified units and a whole bunch of new units and structures to each of the sub-factions. I think when you're playing multiplayer, you'll have 9 different factions to choose from.
Wow.
And it's going to be great to see the dynamics between players in team matches. So.
That seems like a very challenging balancing act.
It is, but I'm pleased to say that we have some of the best balance designers now, and balancing an RTS is continually challenging.
Certainly.
And we continue to support even the original game with changes to balance. But we feel really good about the direction we're going with the expansion.
Awesome, Mike. When are you looking to release it?
So spring 2008 coming your way. All new cinematic sequences with a new cast. We haven't announced yet, but all the ingredients are there for a fun CNC experience.
Awesome, Mike. Well, thanks for coming by. The game is Command & Conquer Kane's Wrath.
Absolutely.
And tell Greg and Amir I said hi.
I will do that.
All right. Now, we are also going to be doing a quick little giveaway here. Send an email to onthespot@gamespot.com, and you could win one of 5 copies of the 360 version or 5 copies of the PC version of the original Command & Conquer 3. So send that in, say which platform you want, and let's see. The code word is fun. Make sure you write fun in your email. Otherwise, you don't get to win. Jerks. All right, that's how it's got to go. Now we're going to kick over to Ryan, who's ready with Need for Speed Pro Street.
Thanks, Jeff. Code names are fun. So codename fun, that may be the funnest code name. Anyways, I'm now joined by John Doyle, producer on Need for Speed Pro Street. John, how's it going?
It's going great.
Excellent. I'm doing well. We saw this game last time at E3. And we're going to see something a little bit different today. I understand we're going to see some of the drag racing.
That's right. So at E3, we showed you Speed Challenge, and Need for Speed Pro Street is about competing at the highest level of street racing, and it's a multidisciplinary game, so your job is to be the best racer across a multitude of events. And so we thought this time we'd show you a little bit of drag, and if the software cooperates, a little bit of drift as well.
Oh, excellent.
So we can show you some drag. And
let's jump into it. So you guys have taken the street racing off the street.
It's off the street, it's onto the track, and it's also onto some street locations that we built. We've inspired by some real-world street racing locations. What we're looking at here is a mini game that starts out that's about you warming up your tires and getting gripped. Your goal is to get that grip meter as high as possible. What that's going to do for you carrying into drag is it's going to up your chance of getting a perfect launch and getting off the line quickly.
So when he's doing that, is he like feathering the shoulder button?
Exactly. He's feathering the throttle just enough to get going. So his lights went off there. He's shifting now. He's trying to take off, and and we'll see if he can get a little NOS and get going. So what he's doing here, instead of a traditional quarter-mile drag, he's running a half-mile. This is street racers come to the track, they bring their own rules, they don't want to run the traditional way. So you can run a little half-mile, a little quarter-mile, and this is why you're seeing an 18-second time, because that's a pretty fast half-mile.
Now, we've seen drag racing in the Need for Speed games before. How does this differ mechanically? Aside from the
mechanically,
distance?
what really differs is that you're not switching lanes and dodging traffic in this case. The
Okay.
goal is to control a truly powerful car. So the cars that you're seeing on the screen right now are incredibly powerful, lots of horsepower, and trying to get those things to take off, go in a straight line, not torque steer out of control for you, and shift just right is a challenge.
So actual steering is a huge concern this time.
So we rewrote the physics from scratch for Need for Speed this year, so definitely it has a great impact on as you take off with these high horsepower cars.
So is it gonna? It's gonna try and edge to the left.
That's
or to
right.
the right?
The torque takes over and starts to push you a little bit to one side or the other. So you got to control that as you're taking off. At the same time, you're trying to hit those perfect shift zones, deciding when you're going to use your NOS. You got time for usually one shot of NOS. So when's the best time to use it? How are you going to take off and beat your opponent? Drag this year is a best out of 3 competitions. So the best time out of 3 runs takes the win.
Now you're talking about different locations. Does any of that figure into the drag racing?
Yeah, absolutely. So what you're seeing here is we're racing at the Infineon Raceway, which is actually not too far from where we're standing.
Sears Point.
Absolutely. And also, if you go out and race on, say, the Tokyo Dockyard, you're racing under the cranes at the Tokyo Dock. If you race out on the Autobahn course, it's actually a little bit of curve in the course. So
Okay, that would make sense.
Changes it when you get that street location. It's a little more challenging.
Width of the road, does that affect the action at all?
Absolutely, definitely on the traditional track-based racing, what you're seeing is a standard width. But when you go to those street-based locations, what you're going to see is telephone poles. You're going to see light posts in the road. You're going to see a much more narrow road. It's a more challenging drive.
Now, while he's doing while he's heating up his tires there, if you redlined that, would he just blow out his tires?
Not going to blow your engine or your tires while you're doing the tire heat up. That turned out to be not very much fun when we tested that. But you can blow your engine if you're overheating as he's doing now, and he might just blow it if he keeps going. Yeah, there you go. So you blew it out.
So if you blow your engine before you get to the finish line, regardless of if you're like really close, does it just cut off?
Race is over.
It's just automatic fail.
That's
right
it.
there.
It's not terribly easy to do, but you can do it to yourself. Yeah.
Excellent. Do we want to see what else?
Yeah.
What else can we show here?
So I think what we'll do is we'll load up a little bit of drift for you, and
Okay.
in the meantime, I can answer any other questions you might have. So
online, we've seen online in the Need for Speed games previously. What are you guys doing to kind of set it apart in Pro Street?
So we just started talking about online today, as a matter of fact. So we're doing a couple innovative things. One thing that we're doing is where our customization system, both visual and performance, is pretty deep this year. Allows you to really get deep down into both making the visual customizations you've seen in previous years, and really deep into performance customization this year, tuning, tweaking. It's all based on that new physics engine. What you can do is, if you're a great tuner, you can build out this great car. You can make the perfect drag car to go take on the world. I'm a horrible tuner. You can send your blueprint to me so that I can apply it to my car and race. Now, I can't see what you've done under the covers. All I see is the overall performance, and I can go race that car. As I race, as I climb the leaderboards, because I'm kicking butt with the car you built, your name is right next to mine in terms of tuned by.
Oh, wow.
And then there are leaderboards specifically for the best tuners out there. These things can move virally around the world.
So you can get onto leaderboards not even by how you drive, but just how you tune?
How well you build a car.
Wow.
So the system's deep enough this year that you can build in a multitude of ways, and so we'll definitely see people out there who are well known for building great blueprints and sending them out to the world.
That's very exciting stuff.
The other cool innovation we're doing this year is what we're calling social competition. So what you can do is you can build one of these multidisciplinary race days, choose a location, choose 2, 3, 4, 7 events, you can allow people to bring their own cars in, or you can lock them down and say, here's a level playing field, here's the cars we're using. You can go play it, you can match, make, and play head-to-head that way, or you can send that race day out to your friends, and when you send it out to your friends, next time they log on to the system, be it the PS3, 360, PC, whatever you have, that race day's waiting for them. They go race. They set a time. They may race against your ghost car, your shadow car that's out there. They can race against the shadow cars up to 7 people on those leaderboards, their friends list, in place of the AI. As they're racing, a dynamic leaderboard is created, so they race on their time, when they want to. As soon as they race, the leaderboard's updated. If you're playing the game, you get notified if they beat your score. If you're not playing the game and you signed up for an alert on needforspeed.com, we'll give you a text message to let you know your friend just kicked your ass.
So you're just not going to ever let me get away from this game, is what you're saying?
No, that's the goal.
It's just going to have its hooks in me, and I'm going to be at work, and I'm going to get a text message.
There'll be,
damn it!
There'll be tears.
Well, let's jump into the drifting here.
Absolutely. So drift this year also based on this new physics engine we've rebuilt from the ground up. So what we're going to see is we're going to see a little bit of drifting, a little bit different than we've seen in some previous years.
Can I say that the drifting in Need for Speed Carbon was crazy? That stuff was bizarre.
It was different, and this year it's different again, but different in another way. So it's really based on the physics. So one thing we've done this year is built a whole series of levels of assists to help you out. So you can just pick up and play, which is kind of the level you're seeing right now, or you can turn these assists down or even off, and all the way up to turning on the manual clutch. So you can go around these corners, use natural clutch kick to initiate your drifts, or the e-brake, or a little bit of power over. So you can drift the way that that actual drifting works.
Are you? Just as a quick aside, are you planning on doing sort of wheel support for this kind of stuff?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, in fact, the drifting is great with wheel. What we're seeing now is that he's trying to string together some long drifts. The way you really drift this year is once you get a drift started, whether it's, in this case he's powering over and just steering into the drift, he's maintaining it by modulating that throttle. So as he's modulating the throttle, he gets better angle and better control, and he's actually steering using the throttle. Once you get pretty good at this, you can pull drifts that run the length of this entire course.
So and that's kind of the ultimate goal in the drifting, is to just be drifting all the time.
Drift all the time,
never
as fast as you can with the most angle.
Excellent. Is there anything about the drifting online that's particularly unique, or?
It's the same as drifting essentially offline. You can drift against players. You can add it to that social competition asynchronous play, or you can drift head to head with people.
Excellent.
Yeah, it's good stuff.
A lot of stuff. John, thanks for coming and giving us a look at Need for Speed Pro Street.
It's a pleasure. So we're out on a lot of platforms, and I hope everyone picks it up on one of them.
You're looking at PC, Xbox 360, and PS3.
PS2 and also the Nintendo DS.
PS2 and DS. Is there GBA and PSP and mobile? And
there'll be a PSP product out that's probably out a little bit later, but
sure.
And there'll be mobile as well, absolutely.
And for your primary, when are you guys looking to get this stuff out?
We'll be out before Thanksgiving.
Excellent. So you guys are just about there.
Well, I'm pretty tired, so yeah, we're there. Yeah.
Excellent. Let's see here. What's up next? I've actually got. You guys have been generous enough to give us some copies of Need for Speed Carbon. We've got 4 copies for 3 different platforms. What are the platforms again? No? All right, well, we'll give some of those away later on in the show. Right now we have a look at Rock Band, which is being shown here. We can't have it in the studio, so we went to it. Let's check it out.
GameSpot's live coverage of the 2007 EA Studio Showcase continues, and we're here with a game that everybody is anticipating, not the least myself, Rock Band. I'm here with Sean Baptiste, who is the self-proclaimed community ninja with harmonics, and we're sitting at drum sets, man. How you doing, Sean?
I'm doing excellent. How you doing?
I'm doing great. So, obviously, Rock Band, huge game. We just saw an announcement this morning about a new band that's coming to the game. Who's coming? What songs? We want to know all the scoop.
It's Grateful Dead for downloadable content after release. We're looking at 18 songs, starting from really early Grateful Dead stuff all the way through, later towards the end of Grateful Dead. That sort of really, really covering the entire expanse.
18 songs for the Grateful Dead is just scratching the surface with their massive vault of music. Tell me about how you went about choosing these 18 songs for a band that has so many releases out there.
Well, I mean, we have a huge process just at Harmonix of, finding songs that are really, beyond being good songs, are really playable songs that are fun to get into, that everybody can sort of feel like they're part of it and just work together as a team.
Right. And, the other thing, we were just talking about this off camera, but the Grateful Dead had 2 drummers. And we're sitting at drum sets, but I'm curious to know how you handle songs that had 2 drummers, how you sort of combine that into one track, into one playable track.
Our audio team is amazing. They're just from top to bottom, they know how to really, every single one of them are really, really good musicians, generally recording musicians. They really can just hear every little thing, and they know how to, after years of practice, really distill it down into something playable and fun.
And I think the drum set which we're looking at here, it's fascinating to me because I'm wondering if you have any insight on how many iterations this thing went through, how you tried to decide how many pads there were, and the color, and the scheme, and the setup. How did the drum set come about?
It was a really, really long process. Not just with actual prototypes, but just we talk as a company, like everybody has insight and everybody has things, and there were quite a few really, really good threads about, like, you're doing it wrong, no! So,
from drummers, no doubt.
And we do. It was a long process, a lot of things to really get it right, to really make sure we had the best possible thing to put out there.
Cool. So we know about Grateful Dead. Any other new songs that are being announced today?
Not that I know.
So we know about the Grateful Dead, but there's some some new music that was just added yesterday. Tell us what the tracks are.
We have Maps by the AAS, Celebrity Skin by Hole, I Think I'm Paranoid by Garbage, and one of my personal favorites, Wave of Mutilation by the Pixies.
You were telling me that the Pixies were, you ran down to QA, right?
I did. I ran down screaming. I was so happy that, I mean, I'm a huge Pixies fan, so getting one of their songs in the game is just huge to me.
That's what's so great about this series is that, you know, with downloadable content, there's going to come a time where everyone sees a song that they love and they're like, oh my God, yes, I've got to play this game right now.
Yeah, we have a lot of those just oh my God moments where you're looking like, oh yeah, that song's amazing. So yeah, it's huge.
Awesome. So final thing, we've got 2 drum sets in here. What's going on? What's going on with 2 drum sets? We're not going to be doing a Grateful Dead song here. We're going to be doing some battling, right?
We're going to do some battling. We're going to go back and forth. This is we have 2 drum sets, which will do a score duel, which we'll both be playing on the same difficulty, going back and forth, and we'll see who's king.
Okay, so can you choose? This is a special mode in the game. Can you choose different difficulty levels, or is it the same guys on the same level?
For this mode, it's same guys on the same level.
All right. So we're going to get on the drums. We're going to play some music, rock out. And back to you guys on the stage. First, let's get our drum on.
Both those dudes were playing the drums. It's like Genesis or something over there. I don't know. That's too weird for me, man. I don't know. I'm joined by Joe Booth. You're the senior producer of FIFA 08.
That's right.
Outstanding. You're here to show us a little bit of FIFA 08. Now, it seems like the theme for EA Sports this year has been to really, make a lot of changes to stuff. We're seeing like online leagues in some games, and the weapon system in Madden. What are you doing this year with FIFA?
Well, this is a big year for us. 3 years ago, we decided to write our engine from scratch for FIFA. We realized if we wanted to use the power of the PS3 and the 360 for gameplay, that we needed to re-architecture our system so they'd work with the Cell and work with the 360 architecture. And so what you're seeing this year is really like this engine becoming to a level of finesse that we just weren't able to get to with the 360 last year. So one of the first things I'll show you here is the skill move system. So if you remember last year on 360, we separated the ball from the animation system.
Right.
We've taken this further now, so we've broken skill moves into some fundamental building blocks. So you see here, I'm able to do just like some simple fakes and some step overs. So here, and it's just a very intuitive movement like this,
Okay, cool.
and I'm just holding down pace control, and I can also do rolls. Now from those moves, I'm able to get to like many combinations very quickly. So if I do a fake, I did what's called an exit move there, where I was able to knock the ball into space. So if you imagine you're kind of faking out a defender here, but then you're able to turn him and then get the ball past him.
Cool.
So the next level is kind of how you stream these things together. So you can imagine you're running up on goal and you're kind of stopping the ball here, you're faking the goalie, and then you start to string these things together to try and get a ball past the goal. So the next level on top of that, those are just your basic moves, is what we call the signature moves. So as well as things like the flip-flap or Cristiano Ronaldo's chop and stuff, we're able to do things like 360 or a Blanco bounce there. And we've even done things like with the rainbow, we've actually split that into two. So first you have to flick it up, and if you don't get the timing right, it will bounce off your arse there, as you see. And then if you get the timing right, you're able to get something a bit more spectacular.
Cool. Now, will only certain players be able to do this stuff? The better players be able to do the fancier moves?
So just like in real life, any player can do basic moves, but only the best players can do like the top moves. And we tried to emulate that for the gamer as well. So any gamer can come into the arena, and pretty soon you can do some fancy stuff. Start to do keepy ups and this kind of stuff. But to be able to use that in gameplay is so much harder. So if you're, once you're under pressure, just like in the real world, only the best players have the mentality
skills
to be able to do that.
Okay. Cool.
So another thing we've got here is that we saw last year with YouTube, people were showing us things that we hadn't done before. So we thought it'd be really cool to add the ability to upload. So we're not online here, but if you go into instant replay, you're just able to press Y, and that would upload to our website. And it's kind of in that YouTube format that you can share with your friends.
So you don't need to
download.
be in the game to watch the clips. You can watch it online.
Exactly, and it converts it in the fly into a video format.
Awesome. That's pretty cool. What other gameplay modes are we going to see?
So
people are always interested in franchise modes and really.
And this is a big FIFA. So actually this year we've gone, as well as taking all the content from current gen, we've added 3 new leagues, so we're up to 30 leagues. That's 575 teams and 15,000 players, which is a huge number. And to put that into context, 17,000 players transferred in the last 10 days of August. We have 150 data collectors worldwide that are there making sure we capture all those transfers.
Wow, that's pretty intense. Now, on top of that, how hard is it to get these players to be accurate to their real-life counterparts? How many player faces do you go after? Do you go after really the top-tier players?
We, every one of those 15,000 players has a face in the game. So the top 500, we have our artists that will do those and keep those intact. And then for the other 14,500, our data collectors, they actually have a tool that they can use to do the likeness of those players.
Oh wow!
So. Our gameplay engine now is actually using 35 times more processing power than we were using in current gen. And this is because we've done this AI rewrite. So we use this technology called threat maps, so that each CPU controlled player is actually seeing this pitch in terms of threats and opportunities. And what that means is you get these emerging behaviors, so that if a defender falls out of position, his teammates will automatically cover for him. And they actually analyze this threat map and make 1,000 decisions based on that per second.
Cool. All right, let's kick it out to the audience. I know that they are going bananas with questions. Ryan, why don't you give me a question about FIFA?
I've got a question here from Ross Stanley in Brighton. He wants to know if you can play 5-on-5 online matches using free roaming players instead of being fixed to one specific player.
Yeah, that's a great question. So
I told you they'd get specific.
Yeah, it is. So we announced just a couple of weeks ago that we're doing 5v5 online. This is called Be a Pro Online Team Play.
Right.
So there's actually 2 modes called Be a Pro. There's Be a Pro Offline Training, which I'll show now, and then there's the online team play, and that's actually going to be a download content between 4 and 8 weeks after the UK launch. And I'm pleased to announce that, yeah, you can play however you want to play. So if you want to play fixed to one player, then you can do that. If you want to play free roam, you can do that. And actually what we find in, like in my team at work, is that one of the guys will be as a striker, another as a midfielder, another as a defender, and we'll have 2 free roam. And we find that that's the best way to play for us, you know?
Nice. Cool. Ryan, more questions.
I got a question here from Tim Wells in Wisconsin. He wants to know, is this version of FIFA going to be easier to pick up than previous versions?
I think in some ways, yes. You know, we've tried to make it so it's many layers of depth. So yes, you can pick it up. You can play just with the pass and shooting. You can play that way. But you know, to really get to the detail of it, I mean, we have people that they play FIFA all year round. They're playing 8 hours, 10 hours a year, and we wanted to have a level of depth and subtlety to the game where they're still finding new things well into January, well into February.
Cool. Now, this is the Be a Pro.
Yeah, so what you're seeing, this camera that we've been seeing in the front end arena, now we're going to use this you're going to see this in game. So I'm locked as Lampard here. And what we're trying to do with offline training is really recreate that sense that you're playing on the pitch. So you see at the bottom there, I'm always getting feedback. So if I do a good pass, it says positive. If I ask for the ball at certain the wrong time, then I'll get a negative. And that's trying to emulate your coach, you know. So your coach is always shouting at you if you're doing a good job or if you're doing something stupid.
Right.
The second level is like I'm able to do calls to my teammates. So here I'm asking to them to add pressure, or I can ask for a pass. And what you're seeing now is like the camera, as I get closer to the goal, it's actually getting closer into the action. So, and what you see, if we get a real run on, it kind of goes into this Gears of War style shaky cam to really make you feel like you're in the pressure there.
Right. Now, as that meter goes up and down, will that impact how the AI plays with you if you call for passes in stupid situations? Will they be like a little reluctant to give you the ball?
What it does is like that's going to add up, and then at the end of the game, you're going to get an overall score. It's going to tell you what you've done well, what you've done badly, and if you do really well, it'll give you unlocks.
Okay. So would you say? I mean, is that more important than actually winning the game?
It's for us, this is about really recreating an experience and creating an experience off the ball. You know, for 10 years since we've been in 3D, we've always really played FIFA the same way, which is always action around the ball.
Right.
And we wanted to create something that was entertaining off the ball, just like playing real football, and really prepare people for this online 5v5 and eventually 11v11 experience.
Wow, 11v11, that's insanity.
It is.
That's pretty crazy. Let's kick it over for more questions. Ryan.
I got a question from Eduardo in Sao Paulo, Brazil. He has a question about national teams. Specifically, he wants to know which Brazilian teams made it in the game and if there are any new ones this year.
So yeah, we have 3 new leagues. So yeah, of course we have Brazil in the game, but we also have 3 new leagues. So we've added the Irish League, the Czech League, and the Australian League into the game this year.
Cool. All right, Ryan, more questions.
Let's see here. One more question I've got from Danny O'Dwyer in Waterford City, Ireland. He wants to know if there's any indoor 5-a-side matches like in vintage FIFA games.
Yeah, I think he's referring to FIFA 98. There was a 5v5 match in that game. So we haven't added that. What we've really focused on is refining this gameplay engine and getting to a level of finesse in the engine that that's only possible because of the next generation engine that we've done.
Cool. Now, this 5v5 online update is going to come out after the release. Is it going to be free downloadable content? Is it going to be premium content? Is that decision been made yet?
Yeah, it's going to be absolutely free.
Outstanding.
You know, this is our gift, and it's like I can't wait for people to play it. We're playing it in the office, and we're just loving it.
It's just such a dramatically different way to play the game.
Yeah, and it's like when shooters went from Doom, you know, where it was just a kind of free-for-all, onto team-based shooters, so things like Ghost Recon and that kind of stuff. Just that team-based experience, it's just a totally new way of playing football.
Cool. And what is your favorite role to play on your team?
I'm quite enjoying playing defense at the moment because it's kind of, it's kind of nice. I've been playing as Payol and like, you know, because you get to go up for corners, you know, and so like I was playing the other day, played really well in defense. We were 2-2, got into the 85th minute. We got a corner. I went up there. The ball dropped for me, knocked it into the back of the net, and it just felt so good because I'd played in defense all game.
Awesome. So the game is FIFA 08. What platforms are you looking to put this out on and when?
So we come out in Europe on September the 28th and North America on October the 9th. We're on PS3, Xbox 360, PS2, PC. We have an amazing game on the Wii. We have DS. We have PSP. One of the great things we do on FIFA is we have different teams working on different platforms, optimizing it for that. Also on mobile.
So it's everywhere.
Yeah.
Everywhere it could possibly be.
Exactly, yeah.
That's crazy. Joe, thanks a lot for coming by.
Thank you. Thanks for your time.
Ryan, I understand you have our giveaway situation sorted.
Yes. Well,
for Need for Speed Carbon.
My part of the giveaway situation.
I'm sorting mine as we speak.
We've got 4 copies each of the PlayStation 3, Xbox 360, and PC versions of Need for Speed Carbon. So send in an email to onthespot@gamespot.com or use the form. First 4 of each who sends in an email with platform name and the name of the game, and of course, code word FUN included in the email, will get themselves a copy of Need for Speed Carbon.
All right, great. And I have some Burnout giveaways here. We have some Burnout pint glasses, matchbooks, and Burnout Paradise coasters that we're going to be giving away.
So wait, are they saying that it's cool to drink and drive?
I believe that's what they're saying.
I think they are.
Fantastic.
I believe that's exactly what they're saying.
Fantastic.
Well, that's against the law, for one. So if you want to win one of these things, write to us and say, hey, I want some Burnout stuff. And write to onthespot@gamespot.com and say, hey, I want some Burnout stuff. You know, pick what you want. We'll try to line it up, but you know, we'll give stuff away until we run out of it. And be sure to include your mailing address. That goes for all this stuff, because if we don't know where to mail it, we can't mail it to you. Also, we will have some shirts to give away, and that's the FIFA shirts, 10 FIFA shirts. So if you want some FIFA shirts as well, you can write and say, hey, I want the FIFA shirts. And we will send you a FIFA shirt if you are one of the first 10 people to send us that information as well as your mailing address. So, Ryan, I think that's just going to about wrap it up here from Electronic Arts.
I think we're done. That 2 hours flew by.
It absolutely did. We saw some pretty hot games. Definitely need to thank Joe, as well as everyone else from Electronic Arts that stopped by our little corner that we took over in their building. You know, definitely got to see some interesting stuff. So we're going to send it home, and we'll see you next week for On the Spot. Thanks.